Oh, wait. Okay. Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome. I am Trooper SJP, and this is the Academic Foxhole, and it is Mac Thursday, and we are playing Mutazione, the winner, the 2020 Independent Game Festival's winner for excellence in audio, a game where a teenager goes to an island where people have been mutated due to, I think, a an asteroid strike, I think. And she is learning to, as it turns out, create gardens, musical gardens, by learning shamanism from her mutated grandfather and also gossip. Hi, everyone. So that's what we're doing. But before we start, there are a couple of other things we need to talk about. Not that I talk about things before we start games. Uh, I would never do that. But let's just say, for the sake of the argument, that we are going to talk about a couple of things before we start the gameplay. First off, our to-do list for today. One, do not let me forget sometime around the middle of the stream to do a giveaway. I would like to give away a couple of games because we're trying to clear out our backlog of free games to give away. So don't let me forget. I made a list. None of that is the list for today's stream. Uh, yes. Okay. So the next thing is we're going to do a raid when or we're going to see if we can do a raid today when we finish. Uh, Hector, House of Dreams, Okami, is going to be doing a charity stream, it looks like, for Roll D5, and they start at 7 Central, which is 9 Eastern, which is when we finish our stream, more or less. So I figured we could raid into them. Don't let me forget, I did write it down. Um, and then that never happened, says Musach. Musach, I was thinking about you all. I was thinking about Germany. Um, if you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm taking off my shoes because I like to have my shoes off when I stream in case I need to touch my foot pedal, my Elgato stream foot pedal. I don't like to do it with my shoes on. I was just thinking about Germany. I'm not Germany. No, wait. I was thinking about Germany for a couple of reasons. It's a very weird thing. And somebody made a comment on Reddit. I know. And it was interesting because it's a comment that I think is very prevalent at the moment. And it was that somebody says, does anybody think it's weird that everyone is forced to learn Latin in school? Because why would you be forced to learn Latin? Latin is, like, in high school, it's a dead language. There's no purpose and there's no use for it. You should only be learning practical languages like Spanish. I can't even do a German accent. The best I could do is somewhat offensively, vaguely Eastern European. Nice. So this person's, position was that he thinks it's weird that everyone is forced to learn Latin in high school in the United States, because Latin is a dead language and there's no point learning anything else that's practically useful. And most people's response was, but Latin is practical because you can use it for if you want to learn law or medicine. Hey, Artie, how are you? Artie, I was thinking about you. I didn't learn Latin, but I would love to learn Latin. So also, some people were like, wait a minute, though. Actually, people don't learn Latin in large numbers in the US in high school. That is just not accurate anymore. What are you talking about? Right. So that was a lot of people were like, no, 2025? No. There are some schools where you might learn Latin, but most of them don't. Uh, Crone says, I learned Latin in high school, but it was a choice. Yeah. Latin is semi-useful for reading asterisks and obelisk. Yes. But so here's what I was saying. I was thinking about how most people's responses were, oh, but Latin is important for vocabulary purposes. And a couple of people, so it is practical. And a couple of people were saying, well, but hold on a second, people don't learn Latin. But only one person said the thing that I was thinking about, which led me to give a response that led me to think about Germany. And there is a way of thinking that is you should only learn something that is practical in school. If it is not practical, if you wouldn't use it in real life, you shouldn't learn it at all. Like only the most practical things that are directly related to a job is what you should learn in school. And when people don't want to take things like Latin or calculus or algebra or literature or history or any number of things, they always default to, yeah, but this is not practical. I don't need this in the real world, whatever that might mean, or to get a job specifically in a very specific definition of that. So I don't see why I should have to learn it. And he was kind of arguing in that way that, like, why would you learn Latin since, and I was also getting into an argument with not really an argument, a discussion with somebody else. Artie says, and by real life, I assume they mean for capitalist work things. Yes. And Milsich is like, I don't agree with that sentiment, and neither do I. I also don't agree with that sentiment. And for so many reasons, for a lot of reasons, many reasons I don't agree with it. One is that you actually don't know what you're going to be doing at work anyway. Do you know what I mean? Like and also maybe, you know what? So this is related to a different conversation I'm having with somebody else who uh, was arguing U.S. turning higher learning into a method of gatekeeping for jobs was a bad idea. Yeah, yeah. And I was having a different conversation with somebody else. By the way, I'm going to get back to Germany. It's all coming back to it. I was having a conversation with somebody else. Somebody was saying that professors should never have students do anything outside of class hours because that is oppressive to poor students. And I said, I am not allowed to do anything outside of class hours at my university, and so that will never happen. Uh, and this person's like, good, because no student should ever do anything outside of class hours. Um, and it's all coming back. Yes, that's, yep. And I said, I don't do that. This thing that you say, I don't do. However, it is a bummer because there are classes that I took and that were really, really important for my learning that I cannot give my students anymore. And I, oh, the nights were so cold. Oh my goodness. A lot of things I learned in school I never use in real life, but school made me take an interest in a wide range of topics. And also, I think that the idea that, well, I didn't use this in real life is very narrow because you're often learning more than one thing, right? Like, for example, when you're learning, I learned this from a friend of mine who, well, actually the spouse of a friend of mine who's a elementary school teacher, and teaching people cursive is actually not just about learning cursive. It's also about, because they do it when you're like in third grade very often. It's also about, that's a certain particular time developmentally when you need to work on hand-eye coordination and sort of like linking neural pathways. And so there's like, it's not just about cursive. It's also about other things. Anyway, so we were talking about, so apparently, so this one student was like, I had to go to a mall. I had an assignment for a sociology class to go to a mall and do this, a bunch of sort of like observation. And a bunch of people were like, what a ridiculous, stupid assignment. That's not practical in the real world. And also, anyone can go to the mall at any time. I don't see what the point of that was. I wish you wouldn't have to do things like that. It's so terrible. And this person was like, yeah, going to the mall is not going to get you a job. And I said, well, only if the only thing that you imagine being, because like you're not going to put it on your resume, so how's it going to get you a job? And I was like, well, it's field work. It's like the practical application. It's experiential learning, and many people accuse universities of not doing experiential learning. And then when you do experiential learning, field work, et cetera, you don't want to do. Yeah, Crohn's like, but that's literally how sociology experiments work. Yeah, right. And this person was like, yeah, but also I could just go to the mall myself. And it probably would be even better because there's no grade attached. And I was like, I bet you wouldn't go to the mall and do a sociology field work. You would just go to the mall. Right. And it was all about like this idea of like what is only immediately in a very sense and obviously practical. And I was thinking about, and I tried to explain this thing. And this is me talking a little bit of smack about Germany. I will also talk smack about the United States. Please be aware. This is not me being chauvinist this way. But when I was in Germany, in Bavaria in the 1990s, you took your exam when you were 12 years old to find out what school you would go to. Hauptschule, Gesamtschule, or Gymnasium. And hey, Rissa, you had to learn stenography, unfortunately. Oh, I wish I knew stenography. I would love to know that. That would be so cool. Artie says, yeah, one of the things when I was learning programming in university, they were teaching us a particular programming language, but also the way about learning any language broadly. Yes, right? Like sometimes the things that you learn are more than just the things that you learn, you know? Anyway, so in Bavaria at least, because Bavaria didn't have any sorry, it was Hauptschule, Realschule, and Gymnasium. And in Bavaria at the time they didn't have any Gesamtschule. So in Bavaria at the time, you would take an exam when you were 12 years old that would determine what school track you would go into. Hauptschule. Yeah, the German education is shitty. I heard it's better in some other states, Muselch. I heard that some of the other Bundesländer were better. Um, so Hauptschule, Realschule, or Gymnasium. And they say that university is free in Germany, which is not actually true. It is very cheap, though. But you only get to go to university if you go to Gymnasium. And if you don't go to Gymnasium, you don't get to go to university, right? If you go to Hauptschule, then you're going to go into an apprenticeship. Yeah, Bavaria is really elitist. Yeah, Musech, it really, really is. And I imagine it's not as bad in other parts of Germany, but so if you go to Hauptschule, then you're going to go into an apprenticeship afterwards, and you'll be qualified to do things like being a painter, a house painter, or like a bricklayer, or working in a factory, things like that. If you go to Realschule, you will be qualified to go to like technical schools. So you might be uh, a secretary or a nurse or like an electrician, right? That kind of like that sort of a thing. And then if you go to gymnasium, you're going to go to university. So um, Krellin says, the first programming language I learned was Pascal, which is not very practical, but it's pretty easy to learn for an English speaker. And it set me up to be extremely adept in learning new programming languages because it taught me programming structure extremely well. Yes. Artie says, sounds a little like the system on Earth in The Expanse, based on the very little we know about it. Yes. And so the thing is that um, there are a couple things about this system that I very quickly picked up on, but also that came out to me when I was talking to people. And one of the things is 12 is really young, right, to determine what you're going to do for the rest of your life. It's really young. Like I was not doing well when I was 12 years old because I was being bullied and I was, you know what I mean? I did much better later, but if you'd give me a test that would have determined the rest of my life when I was 12, that would have been really rough for me. Um, also, um, so I taught English as a second language. And one of the things I did is I taught English in businesses, and businesses would hire my school to go and have teachers go into their school to their business to teach English. Is this their version of goat from Fallout? Yes, that is correct. I was at a Wirtschaftsschule, a commercial school, which is like Realschule. Yeah, and so the thing is, theoretically, anyone who tests well can go to any one. I'm gonna have get some pushback on that one. So I was teaching at this one place, the Veka Verlage, and they are a business that makes architectural magazines. They print magazines, but they print really expensive high-end magazines like for architecture, things that are like fancy. And I taught two different classes, one for all of the secretaries, and then one for all of like the managers, I guess, like, the high level managers. Like I had the CEO and like all of those that level people. And the people in the business manager version, they kept complaining about the fact that they couldn't get um enough really good entry level managers. Yeah, this C-suite. Thank you, Pope. Um, thank you. So it was like all of like um Musa's just gonna be able to correct me because I think I forgot the acronym, but anyhow, they would complain about not being able to get really good managers who would be really good at managing. Uh, and they would get people who had their BVS, I think it is BVS, which is their degree, their business degree. Um, Wirtschafts. So it's like, so basically they people who went to university, got their degree in business, and they're the people that you hire to be a manager, and these people don't know anything about printing. And so they had all these people who'd come from university who are not good at management. So you know what I mean, right? Yeah, it's like a yeah. So then I'm teaching these secretaries, and these secretaries, all of them were they had multiple like they were really good at English. Is it's their version of the MBA? Yes, it's their version of the MBA. And so the people that I was teaching, who were all those secretaries, had been there for a long time. They had really good English. Their English was great, and they knew the business really well. They would have been the best managers. Like, if it were me, I would have hired a number of them to be our entry level managers. And so I asked the managers, I said, well, why don't you hire these various secretaries you have? And werewolf, yes, I'm here with this look upon my face. And they said, oh, we couldn't hire them because they went to Realschule. So because they went to Realschule and not Gymnasium, they were basically locked out of any kind of those kind of management leadership positions because it's sort of like baked into what school level you went to, what you can do in these ways. Trooper, our German educational system classist. Yeah, and Musech, much like the United States, I had a lot of German friends said, "Oh, well, it's not classist though. It's meritocratic. You just have to score well on your exams and you'll be fine." And uh, I had a friend of mine, and she was also a secretary, and she was the secretary at the language school that I taught. She knew English, Italian, French. She knew like a like Italian, French, of course, German, English, Spanish. She was amazing. She was amazing. And I asked her how come she didn't go to gymnasium. Like, she was so smart, right? I said, why didn't you go to gymnasium? And she said, and I think this is really important, right? Just to like think about this for a moment. She said, well, she's Bavarian, right? But she did not grow up. I was in Augsburg, but she didn't grow up in Augsburg. She grew up in a small little Bavarian village. And please note, Augsburg is actually also not that big of a city, but it's still a city. Um, and so she grew up in a small town, like a kind of like a farmer's town in Bavaria. And there was no gymnasium in her town. If she wanted to go to gymnasium, she would have to commute to like a bigger place. And she did test well enough. She tested well enough to go to gymnasium. But she said nobody in her village was going to gymnasium. If she went to gymnasium, she'd have to commute away and she wouldn't know anyone at all. Everyone in her town was going to basically uh, Hauptschule or Realschule. And her parents said to her, why would you go to gymnasium? You're just going to get married anyway. So it seems like a waste. It seems like a waste. So there was this woman, here was this woman who was very, very smart, but because she lived in a kind of a working class rural location, and her parents were like, you're just a woman, so you're going to get married. Why waste all that time to go to gymnasium for that anyway? Because of like sexism and classism, she was, even though she tested well enough to get into gymnasium, she was discouraged from going, and then she didn't. She went to Realschule, which was, very fancy for her town. And that's a barrier because her parents also couldn't drive her to, and it was also rural Bavaria where it's not like you had a good train or anything like that. So there were these class, gender, like location based barriers for her to go to gymnasium, even though she was definitely good enough to go there. Um, right. Artie says, oh, let me finish this thought before I read your comments. And then all of my friends when I was in Germany, the people I just met when I got there who were Germans, they were all law students. So they're all university students, and they were all law students, which means they all had gone to gymnasium. And uh, my ex, the woman I was dating at the time, she was a law student, and her father was a Bavarian Supreme Court judge, and she kind of didn't score well enough to go to gymnasium, but apparently you can appeal that, and her dad got her into gymnasium anyway, right? Like if she had not been in a family whose dad was a Supreme Court justice and whose family had been generationally of a class where you go to gymnasium, she probably would not have gone to gymnasium, but she did go to gymnasium. You know what I mean? And so like I could see the way that class was playing out, even though everybody said that it didn't, but it did, right? So now I'm going to read what you all have to say, and then then I'll come back to Latin because I am making my way back there. Artie says, this sounds like what you hear about the military, where the enlisted soldiers know so much more than the officers, but it's always the officers that get the command. Yes. Yes. Werewolf says, the biggest line in education is that any of it is purely meritocratic. I mean, I wish that were true, but I mean, absolutely, how can it be? Right? How can it be completely meritocratic when some people can afford to give you tutors or really good computers and other people have to work full time while they're going to school at 14? You know what I mean? Like, it can't be completely meritocratic. If your school doesn't have money and you don't have the resources, you're just not going to, you know what I mean? Like that's just not true. Um, yeah. Artie says, very much just like the belief that the world of life is fair or ever has been fair. Yeah. And real such says, no, it's not meritocratic. As a child of a i.e. medical doctor is more likely to get admission at gymnasium than a child of a bricklayer. Absolute. And that's what I saw. I saw it, you know? Um, yeah. And Milsich is right. Daddy made it right. That's exactly what happened. And here's the thing. This is a moment, and this is the thing I was going to say about Latin, right? Going back to Latin, like, and why would you have to learn Latin because it's not practical? So I had all these friends who were all very progressive, right? And they're all law students. And I remember this moment when I was hanging out at the bar and I met this woman who was, because I like talk to everybody. I met this woman and she was from Aicha and she was a baker. And I was like, I don't know where Aicha is. And she's like, you know the name, like, so in Germany, but really, I guess, everywhere in Europe, their license plates will have like a letter code, and the letter code is often the city. So if you're a really big city, like B is Berlin, uh, right? They get Berlin, and I think like probably Munich gets M, but Eichach is not a big city, so it's AIC. So like your license plate will be AIC and then some numbers. And so she's like, yeah, we're AIC. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, okay, that's oh cool. So we were chatting. We had a really great, like, one thing I really love to do is when I meet people that I don't know who do something that I don't know about, I like to ask them about that thing and then learn about it. So she told me all about what it was like to be a baker, which was really cool. I learned a lot. That was really neat. And then I went back to my friends and I was like, oh, I met this really cool woman. She's a baker. She's from IHOP. And I told them all about it. And they said, oh, she's a baker? And I was like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And they're like, oh, she probably went to Hauptschule. And I was like, okay, like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what that means. And they were clearly assuming that she wasn't smart because she went to Hauptschule. And I was like, that's weird. And so we were talking about the differences, and I was trying to figure out, like, okay, well, what is the difference between these schools then, right? And I was trying to get at it, and I said, okay, well, but I mean, like, they learn like the same things like you learn, like, they're going to learn like algebra, like, and they said to me, oh, no, they don't learn algebra at the Hauptschule. And I was like, what do you mean they don't learn algebra at the Hauptschule? Like, we learn, it does sound like stereotypes about people going to community college, or really more like people who got their GED already. And I was like, well, what do you mean you don't learn algebra at the Hauptschule? I mean, we learned algebra in middle school. So what are you talking about? And you know what they said to me? They said, yeah, they don't learn algebra. They learn business math. They learn practical things like in the gymnasium, they learn Latin, but they don't learn Latin at the Hauptschule. And they said, yeah, Milsich says, in my experience, progressive people often get very conservative if licensing doesn't go their way. Yeah, yeah. And so what they said to me is they said, if you go to the Hauptschule, you learn practical things because a person who's going to work, this is what they said to me. They said, if a person's going to work in a factory, they're just going to be unhappy if they take too many classes that emphasize critical thinking and things like that. So, it's just actually just much better for society if the people who go and work in factories don't take classes like Latin or algebra, but just take, more practical things. And I was like, oh no, 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 no. And I was like, okay, I don't know if I can be friends with you all actually right now. This is so awful. And yeah, no, none, yeah, all of you, New Such Werewolf, Pope, you're like, what? Yeah. And I was like, this is, I was so upset. And when I was reading this Reddit post about this person who's like, I don't know why we have to learn Latin because it's not practical. I just was reminded of those law students I knew in Germany who thought it was better for the working class not to take classes that would make them think too much because then they would just be unhappy and unsatisfied, and that's just not good for anybody. And I I think that I think it's bad that we only think that we should be teaching things that are
Name
somehow
game.
practical in an obvious sense, right? Like, oh, don't teach them algebra. Just teach them basic how to balance a checkbook. That's all they need to know for math. Because why would you teach them more complicated things? They don't need it. You know what I mean? And only the things that you would like just to balance a checkbook. That's all they really need to know. And I think no, actually. Why can't they learn Latin if they want to learn Latin? Why can't they learn algebra? Why can't they learn calculus, right? And I think that I think we do a disservice to people by telling them that only something that is so obvious as a skill that you would use in a capitalist job is the only thing you need to learn. Because what makes you think? Because here's the thing, in gymnasium, they learn Latin and they learn calculus and they learn all of those things. All the elites learn all those things that people say are not practical. Clearly, they're seeing some value in those kinds of courses. And the ability to, for example, think through things, find out if people are lying to you, double check things that are not specifically tied to the kind of widget you're making in a factory seems like really important skills to me. And so I did not like that. I was like, oh, ooh, no, no, this is bad. I don't like this. And that was a moment when I really came to appreciate these classes that in high school I didn't quite know what I was like, what are we doing this for? And I was like, oh, if they don't want me to take these classes, I definitely think I need to take these classes. Do you know what I'm saying to you all? This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Hey, Artie says, you don't want to burden their lesser minds with all that knowledge when they don't need it and won't use it. Heavy, heavy sarcasm. Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, surprising no one, I took 3 years of Latin before uni. I do not regret it whatsoever. Also, Latin's cool. Learning Latin, it may be a language that people don't speak on the streets, but you're going to learn a lot by learning it. Like, I learned a lot. And here's the thing, people could say, well, I am never going to leave the United States. Why should I learn another language? First off, people speak other languages in the United States. And also, learning another language teaches you a lot about your own language. I learned so much by learning other languages. Do you know what I mean? Like I learned a lot about English by taking Spanish. I learned a lot about languages in general by not only taking Spanish, but then learning a little bit of Korean and then German. I learned so much about how different languages think about things. And then like, I actually, it was really good for me to learn. I mean, am I fluent in Spanish anymore? I am not. But it was really good. And even if I never use Spanish in my life, which I do live in the United States, so I probably will, but even if I never did, it helped with my brain pathways and it helped me just generally speaking as a human being. You know what I mean? Like I just don't like it when people want you to only know like, and I have one more thought about this, but no, I'll tell you before I catch my chat. I was watching a reality show once. I only caught one episode. I caught it randomly on TV. It was called Sheer Genius. And it was a reality show that was like a hairdressing competition where they had all these like really, really. This was also, by the way, it was an early reality TV show. So it was a reality TV show when people didn't quite know what reality TV shows were going to be like yet. And so you'd have people who were very qualified jumping onto these reality TV shows because they didn't know yet that it hadn't yet turned into, they still thought it was they still thought it was a competition rather than like entertainment in certain ways. And so you had these like really, really very skilled hairdressers in this competition. And the episode that I saw, I only saw one, but I was fascinated by it. They brought in a bunch of people whose hair had been fried, who'd been like over bleached, like really their hair was in a bad shape from over processing. And they said, okay, all of you have your challenge is to take these people whose hair has been over processed, the color is not right, but their hair has been stripped. You need to fix their hair. You need to figure out how to make their hair look good, not only how to fix whatever damage has been here, but it has to look good. You have to take care of their hair. It has to fit their face and all this stuff. And they had their time to do it and they did it. And of course they had these sort of talking head sections where they were talking to the contestants. And the contestants were so smart. It was amazing. They're like, okay, so the problem is there's some bad color in this hair and we do have to strip this bad color out, but their hair has been over processed, so it's very damaged. So you can't just put more bleach in because that will ruin the hair. So chemically, you're going to have to do this. Like they really knew their stuff and they had to think through a really tricky problem, right? The tricky problem being that this hair needs to be made more healthy before you can strip the things out, right? Like there was all this like really complicated, like critical thinking and thought process in the moment. Like really, oh, I was like, oh, y'all are so smart. And like hairdressers like do 100 hours, 200 hours, like a whole lot of training to be able to think through these really complicated, and they knew chemistry, right? Like they knew so much stuff. And I was like, why would we disrespect people to think that they don't need to know things? You know what I mean? Because people know things. I don't care what your job is. Do you think that like bricklayers don't need to know geometry? Of course they do. I mean, come on. And I actually use algebra, which is like solve for X, all the time when I'm doing RPGs. So I was like, okay, if we've got these, like, it just one of these things that happens quite a lot, actually. And I just feel like it, why are we not letting people learn things? That's all. That seems, I, now I'm going to catch up on chat. Also have to sing. Yep. Artie says, this is becoming, don't teach them problematic history, and it'll just confuse them and make it hard for them to get along in the real world where we seem to be going. Yes, and because it's really quick to say, well, you don't need history. That's not practical. You don't need to read books. That's not practical. Why do you need to know that? That's not practical.
Name
right?
game.
And I'm like, oh, I don't know about that. Oh, Grinny, I see you. World says, well, the AFD is on the rise in Germany. Yeah, unfortunately. Crone says, there's a lie that circulates, and not just in the US, that capitalism and democracy are a natural pair, when in reality, capitalism is inherently anti-democratic. I agree with you. Yes. Muselch says, Hauptschule is considered that students are only fit to become a craftsman, but when you take up an apprenticeship, you go to a Berufsschule, profession school, and after that you have a Realschule degree, right? See, yeah, I just feel like we have to, I don't know, like people deserve to learn things. Atomica says, I'm still annoyed with my French teacher. She's a nice woman, but she's just not a good teacher. Like she says, we are her best class, and we all feel like we are barely scraping by as a whole. And this includes a kid who speaks a bit of French from his family speaking it constantly. Ooh, rough, Atomica. Artie says, yeah, because the capitalists know that by linking them, they can try to impart the values people assign to democracy to capitalism. This is true, actually. Yes. Artie, very good insight. Musuch says, also, craftspeople are in high demand to become wealthy very quickly. Yeah, absolutely. And Musuch is worried about the rise of the AFD, as am I. Atomic says, I still remember Kid Nation. That one where they just jammed a bunch of 5 to 15-year-olds in the middle of the New Mexico desert and basically left them unattended except when they were making them do challenges. Oh, yeah. Ooh. Oh, reality TV. Artie says, actually doing something worthwhile for the people coming on a show, definitely before the advent of reality TV. Yeah, it was at that kind of like weird transition space for reality TV where people were still trying to experiment with the form, and people didn't realize that to be successful on reality TV, whatever that means, you want to play a caricature, like a character, you know? It was that kind of middle space. Yeah, and Artie's like, wait, did someone just read Lord of the Flies? Yeah. How says, I explained to a coworker the other day how we use complicated algebra with our products every day, and they sort of freaked out. And I was talking to Laugh Love Lindy about this, and Lindy's like, I use geometry all the time when I'm doing cosplay and sewing. Actually, it's quite important, right? Yeah. I am going to sing for you. I've got 2 people to sing for. Artie's like, well, they can teach them the history that serves their causes, just like that will make them question the status quo. And I also think, don't you want to know stuff? Like, I, you know how I told you, like, I talk to random people and they tell me things? So I was talking to somebody who wanted to be a professional bowler. I am not a good bowler. I've only bowled a couple times in my life, but they are passionate about bowling and they told me all about what being a professional bowler is like. And I learned a whole lot. And you know what? I'm never going to be a professional bowler, but I learned stuff and that was cool. And do you know what I learned? By the way, do you know what I learned? I learned that if you're like a high level bowler, when you buy your bowling ball, it doesn't have the holes in it at all. There are no holes in the bowling ball. You actually go and get the holes specifically drilled for you specifically that like if you want to be a super high level bowler, they'll take videos of you and of the way that you throw the ball, and then they will analyze it. Like they'll do like aerodynamic and sort of like body mechanic analysis of how you move your body to throw it, and then we'll use that to generate an idea of how it is best to drill the hole specifically for you. Like, should it just be one finger, one thumb? Two fingers, one thumb. How should those fingers and thumb be arranged? How close, how far? Like, exactly what would be the perfect weight ball for you? And they do all of this sort of like physics and math to specifically customize the ball for you specifically and how you move. I had no idea because I'd only played golf a couple of times, with the balls that are in the bowling alley. That was it. You know what I mean? And I had no idea that it was like that detailed and complicated. And how cool is that? And I never would have learned that had I not spoken to somebody about it. And that was cool. And like now I know something. And if I ever meet somebody who's a bowler, I have some way to make a connection with them. Because if somebody's like, I really love bowling, I'd be like, oh, that's cool. And then we can have a connection because I know something about it. And then I've made a connection with another human being because I know something about bowling because I listen to people. Yay. It's it's a way to connect the universe. Greetings from Diet Water Labs. Hey, Hawkeye. Yes. Um, Greedy says, I have a book called Lord of the Fly Test, Lord of the Fly Fest, which is a hip version of Lord of the Flies, and I actually loved it. Oh, maybe I want to read it. Uh, go, Musech. Servus. Servus. Ciao. Bis später. Zanzibar's, wait, bowling balls can be comfortable? Yeah, Zanzibar, I had no idea. Apparently, when you get it, it's all, Hawkeye says, yeah, I have a custom drilled ball by a pro shop, right? Like, I had no idea that was a thing because I'd only played with balls that were just not the right weight, not the right biomechanics. I didn't know any difference. See, Hawkeye knows, right? How cool is that? Hawkeye says, mine lets me use a fingertip grip to get a better hook. See, these are things I had no idea until I found out about it, and that was awesome. I loved that. Artie says, I don't think I've ever bowled properly in my life, just a weird version of the granny bowling. I probably have never really, I mean, my bowling score is not good. I think I almost never break 100, right? Yeah, I think, I'm like 96, 87. I might have broken 100 once, but like, I'm not a good bowler. Wait, you played golf in a bowling alley? Wait, maybe? Oh no. I caught, yes. We need a stronger fan art community here. I think so. Uh, okay, I should Lord of the Fly Fest. Okay, I need to go get some supper. Be right back. Okay. It was church. I was in a church code league for all. That's so cool, right? And also for the record, I would really love to learn how to play bridge really well, or at least mediocre, like to know it. That seems like it'd be interesting. I would love to learn how to do take shorthand, like old school shorthand. That seems like it'd be fun. Like they're just such a things that I think would be good to learn and to know. And I do not regret any of the things that I learned right in school. I regret that I didn't learn more. Do you know? Reese said you definitely said golf would talk about fancy bowling balls. I think it'd be very hard to do the custom drilling on a golf ball though. That's what I think. Hey, Darth Credible Hulk. Hello, hello. Hello. Welcome in. I'd also be intrigued to learn bridge. I think that'd be really interesting. I think everyone should try kite surfing at least once in life. Oh, that would be fun. I thought it'd be really neat to do uh hang gliding. That could be cool. I think you'd I will confirm that True misspoke and said golf. I accept it. By the way, before I sing, because I'm gonna sing now. When I was reading up about the Night Witches for the Night Witches game that I GM'd, I was reading all about how many of these women who are night witches had first started learning how to fly using gliders, like which were like planes with no engines that they would like pull you off of a cliff and then you'd learn to fly that way. And I thought, that seems cool. That seems really cool. And I think I'd like to do that, right? Just like they would use these slingshots. They'd basically like, slingshot you out of over a cliff and then you would like fly it. It had no engine, but it was flying an airplane with uh, flying a wooden and paper airplane with no engine. But they, the one of the reasons why the night witches were so good at what they did was because most of them had trained on these gliders. So when if their engine was shot out or destroyed, they were actually usually fine with landing anyway. Like they were actually really, and that's one of the ways that the night witches were able to bomb the Nazis when they were using World War I era biplanes in an era that had World War II era planes, is they would fly over their target and then they would, like about a mile out, they would just cut their engines completely. And then they would just glide silently with no lights, with nothing over the target, and they would do it with their eyeballs, and they would like calculate like distance and wind and all that, and then they would drop the bombs, and right before, and then they would like rev up their engine and then take off, right? Like as they're like losing altitude and things are, they're like, they might, nope, and the engine's back on and off they go. Like, and just like what cool things that people have learned over time. And I don't know, I feel like learning helps you grow in your own self, but also helps you connect to other people. So it doesn't just have to be the one thing you're going to do in the job, because especially since people do different jobs, you know, that's all. That's all I'm going to say. Uh, no, 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 no. There was no, you can bite me. That was usually when I say it's me. When I say that doesn't even mean I disagree. It usually means that I have like 14 thoughts that are happening right now in my mind. And I'm getting like, I'm playing through lots of different thought scenarios, and there are a lot of them, and I have to like ponder them a little bit because my mind starts like stacking up like, okay, what about this, 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 and then I play those ideas off each other to see what they do. And that just takes, it doesn't take as long as you think it does, but sometimes I just need a moment to like, well, what is that going to do? Then I think, sometimes I think I have a thought, then sometimes I think I need to let this percolate longer before I can think about it some more. That's me. um I think you could try putting bowling ball holes into a golf ball. Make it a golf ball for a fairy. Bowling ball, not golf ball. But I think that I don't know if this is true, but I was told, and maybe this is wrong, that golf balls are like inside the golf ball is like highly pressurized. This is what the was, by the way. That I was trying to say, is this true? I was trying to evaluate if this is true or not. My understanding is that golf balls inside the golf ball is highly pressurized. There's like everything's like really like tightly wound, and that I'm just what I was the was if you drilled holes in golf balls, would they explode? That was my that if you want to know what I was thinking if you drilled holes in golf balls, would they explode? Is that actually safe, or would it be fine? Because I don't know the answer, but I was thinking about how somebody told me that the inside of a golf ball is very it's like it's a lot of pressure. I don't know if that's true, but that's what I was told. So that I was thinking about exploding golf balls. That's what I was thinking of. Uh, that's insane. Says the guy who was trying to wing foil in 30-mile-per-hour winds yesterday. Right? Isn't that amazing, Zanzibar? Uh, the is redirecting the hamster wheel to move in the same direction, basically. Yeah. Isn't it like plastic bands? I'm pretty sure, I thought it was like yeah, plastic bands, right? It's like plastic bands, like they do these big, massive plastic, uh, right, like rubber bands, right, to like zoom the glider out. The glider. Yeah, it's very, very tightly wound, like differing centers, right? Um, can one have yeah, so like my understanding is that golf balls are really intense, and so I like it may not be safe to drill holes in a golf ball. I don't know. But old school gliders, Zanzibar, we have to top up the night, which is not right now. So I'm gonna sing. Oh, there's so much, everybody's saying the best things in chat right now. But I'm gonna sing. The name game. Come on, everybody. I said, now let's play a game. I bet you I can make a rhyme out of anybody's name. The first letter of the name. I treat it like it wasn't there. And then a B or an F. on M will appear. And then I say bow at a B, then I say the name, then banana, fenner, and foe. Then I say the name again with an F, very plain, then a fee, fi, and a mo. Then I say the name again with an M this time, and there isn't any name that I can't rhyme. By the way, night witches, airplanes, electricity. Don't let me forget. Atomica, 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 banana, fana, atomica, fee, fi, mo, atomica. Atomica, Grinny Weasley, Benny Weasley, banana, fana, Finny Weasley, fee, fi, mo, mini Weasley. Grinny Weasley, the name game. Yay! Thank you both for those resubs. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay. I'm so excited. Tripper, this is what you get for not streaming on threes. I know, right? This is wild. I lurk, I have a tiny attention span, I'm being distracted. Sing quickly. There I was. Night witches, airplanes. Okay, and electricity. Hey, Darth Credible Hulk. I just want to thank you all for resubbing, you know. So, here's the thing about the night witches. I was thinking about this, and not just about, I mean, it is about the night witches, but it's also about it's also about, I'll turn that down. It's also about phonographs. Before the 70s, golf balls had liquid cores, but they were not high pressurized or dangerous. Oh, that's interesting. So the thing about the night witches, right, is that the night witches, their planes had no electricity. Because World War I era airplanes did not have electricity, which meant they did not have interior lights. You could read all of the, like, you know, their gyroscope, their compass, all that stuff in the daytime, all their, like, meters, all that kind of stuff. You could read all of that in the daytime, but at night you couldn't, because unless it was like there's a bright moon, I guess you could. But, you know, they did not have electricity in those. It was all mechanical. And early phonographs also did not use electricity. You did not plug in your phonograph, your Victrola, you wound it up, and then you played. And when you recorded stuff, you did not record stuff with electricity, you recorded it through just sound waves. And this was just not that long ago, actually. And I think about how we've become so used to electricity that we may not realize that actually, you know, we had planes that didn't use electricity. We had recording devices and playback devices that did not use electricity, automated things, right? We had clockwork and other means to power things. And I think people sometimes forget that, actually. And it's kind of amazing. You know, I just think it's kind of amazing to think that. 60 minutes and my fish will be ready. Ooh, what kind of fish? What kind of fish? What are you doing? Completely dependent on electricity. Yeah, and it's not that electricity is bad. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that sometimes we have forgotten that you can do things another way. You know? And I think that maybe sometimes it's good. Oh, we're in chapter 2, Rooftop Garden. I'm going to write that down because maybe I need to know it. It's good to go out into the wilderness for a while. Oh, fish strips. Oh, you know what? Your fish strips may be cod. A lot of fish sticks are cod. Could be haddock. But this is Rooftop Garden chapter 2. Chapter 2. Rooftop Garden. And so the thing is, Jer, here's the thing. This is what I'm kind of get at. This is the thing I'm thinking of right now. Also, Darth Credible Hulk, I love your banana. One of the things I'm thinking about is that we have sort of, I think a lot of people have created in their mind this binary between technology and the wilderness, right? That you have technology, which is like electricity and high tech, and then you have the wilderness, which has no technology, except that we had technology without electricity, and we had like sometimes really cool technology that doesn't conform to the way that we think about technology. You know what I'm saying? And to like, I don't know, just to remember that people made really complicated things without computers. Uh, Ardia says to Darth Incredible Hulk, "This shit is indeed bananas. Bananas." Yes. Uh, that can make for an interesting TTRPG setting. A world where electricity has failed. Yes, but here's a slightly dip. By the way, it is nighttime for us, and let's see, what do we have? We're kind of at the end of this day, I think. So we have, yes, I should report back to Grandpa about the barbecue, and then I should talk to Tongue and Mew. Okay, so I have to talk to Tongue and Mew and talk to Grandpa. Those are things that I need to do. Yes, it's looking like it's like looking at progress from a century ago. We wouldn't see it as progress now. Absolutely. There was another thing I was thinking about this, and it was so to bring up GURPS for a moment. One thing I really love about you can make a lot of great things without electricity. It's just that hand tools take longer. They do, right? And I think that sometimes people forget that you can make things. Like I had somebody say to me, I was saying that ChatGPT is not a good thing to use for your research because it just makes up things. And somebody said, yeah, but how can you do research without ChatGPT? Like, that's actually just not possible. I don't know how you could do that. I was like, ChatGPT is like only a couple years old. Like 5 years ago, nobody was using ChatGPT at all. So, and people still did research 5 years ago. Um, you could also just Google. You can just go to Google Scholar. You know what I mean? Like I mean, like if in the same place that you're at where you're asking ChatGPT to come up with books for you, you could actually also just using the same device go to Google Scholar and do a search. Um, and this person was at a university. It was like you can go to university library webpage and search your library catalog. You could ask your librarian. I mean, there's just you could go to archive.org. I mean, you could use different search engines. I mean, research happened before, and the fact that they couldn't imagine how you could ever do research and find anything without ChatGPT, and that they didn't think it was possible. And I also had to point out that many things are not even digitized. So there are just things that are just not digitized, and you would never find it. It distressed me a little bit. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Maybe research didn't exist a few years ago, says Worldfus. You're probably right. Artist says, how can you actually do research when ChatGPT is a better question? Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Hawkeye says, oh my, how did I do research 35 years ago in pharmacy school? Oh yeah, printed journals in the library. For example, Hawkeye, yes. Atomica says, I made a Wing Chun dummy over a summer with hand tools. Ooh, fun. A friend of mine who works construction kept complaining about the lifetime of harm I'd have from using hand tools. He looked at me confused and I reminded him that I was only making one of them, not using tools for the next 20 years. If the tool wasn't electric, it just freaked him out. Oh, wow. Yeah. What's a library? So here's the thing that I think is really important about libraries with physical books. Some libraries don't have them and why they're really important. And I have this one I have this one research class for undergrads only, and I actually make them go to the library. We do work in an archive, so they cannot get around it. But I try to tell them, and I've been thinking about this a lot because of Netflix and Hulu and algorithm generated content. So right now, many of my students do not know anything they do not already know. Right. So when it comes to TV, they only know the things that they already know and the things that are recommended to them by a platform they're paying for that are similar to the things that they already watch and that platform has licenses for. So they never really find anything that's outside of their narrow zone. And people are like, but Spotify has everything. Like Spotify, at least in the United States, doesn't have a whole bunch of stuff in German or in Arab. Like there's a lot of music that is just not on Spotify in our region and may not be on Spotify at all. And Netflix is really bad with old films. Like there's just a bunch of stuff you will never find if you're only, looking at what they tell you that you will like. And one of the things, and I learned this as a kid, I was a student librarian, and one of the jobs of a student librarian is to walk the stacks and make sure everything is actually in the right Dewey Decimal System or a Library of Congress order. And one of the things that you will never be able to reproduce without going to an actual library and going to the stack is if you're like, I'm really interested in the Loch Ness Monster or whatever it is you're interested in. And you go to the stack, you find a book, right? You go to the stack where that book is, and then you look left and you look right, and you will find books because they're organized by subject that you did not know existed and you would not have been able to search for because you wouldn't know what to search for. It's like the synchronicity, right? How many times have I gone to a section of the library because I was looking for one thing, and then I find some things right next to it that changed everything for me? I was like, oh, I didn't know about that. If you just kind of scan the shelf above, the shelf below, to the left and the right, all of a sudden your world is opened up and your research is going to be better because you've learned something that you didn't know that you needed to know about. Do you know what I mean? Like you encounter these things by happenstance, and there's something about um yeah, um there's something about somebody said this. It was like a millennial who was saying this on YouTube. It was like one of the older YouTubers. I can't remember who it was. One of them who was saying that the difference between the old internet and the modern internet is in the old internet, you had to seek out things. And so you gained the skills of seeking out things. It was active. Like using the internet in the past was a lot more active. Whereas many people's internet usage, although maybe it was more like AOL, I don't know, involves like on old YouTube, you had to search for things and then you would find things. But now very often the YouTube, especially if you never expand out, the YouTube feed just tells you what you would be interested in. And I was thinking about the creators who say, oh no, something has happened and the algorithm doesn't recommend my videos anymore, so now my viewership has dropped. But if there's a YouTuber that I like, I just check their channel, right? So clearly, lots of people never check the channels of the places they like. They do not actively seek out content. They wait for the content to be delivered to them. And so they never really find things that they don't know about already. And they don't gain the skills of seeking out knowledge or information. And I feel like that's less great, let's say. Less great. That's all. Just, I feel like that's less great. Um, Yeah. Artie's like, they probably don't even know what a library is. The concept of card catalog would be wild to them. Card catalogs are so cool. Also, Spotify is just absolutely awful given how much they've been trying to support ICE. Ooh, 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 ooh. Hawkeye says, sounds a lot like living in silos, thanks social media. And I think that's it. There's a lot of siloing, but you don't even know it. Carl says, ever since I found out that Dewey Decimal was a racist, I've never been able to look at libraries the same. Yeah. On the plus side, Krellin, most university libraries are Library of Congress, not Dewey Decimal. Artie says, it makes me think of the saying, the more you know, the more you realize just how much there is to learn. Yes. Yes. Um, Artie's like, I really wish I could say that was surprising about Dewey Decimal, but these days it's just disappointing. And Artie's like, and having to seek things out, especially in the BBS days, absolutely. And that's not about gatekeeping, because then you could go there. You just had to look, right? Atomica says, there's still an issue where only like 30% of most YouTubers' viewers actually subscribe to them because they just rely on recommendations. Yeah. So I don't know. I think being able to seek out knowledge on your own and not just receive knowledge is an important skill. And I think that's why it's important to be able to browse. You know what I mean? To be able to, like, people used to complain about it back in the day, channel surfing, where you would like, it's the commercial break in your show. So you would like flip channels to see what was on. But that also allowed you to find things you didn't know about, right? What I've seen of Silo TV show on Apple Plus, it's a very good show. If it hadn't been for channel surfing and synchronicity, I would not be the person I am today because I was 11 years old when I was channel surfing and just accidentally by happenstance came across The Avengers, the 1960s spy show on channel 20, which is one of our UHF channels that ran reruns of old stuff they could get cheaply. I just happened to come across it and it changed my entire life. And I never would have seen that at all if we were in the current algorithm driven moment, because it would only have given me what I had already been watching. You know what I mean? Or versions of that. And I didn't know about 1960s spy-fi, so I would not have ever come across it. And there's something about chance, right? And seeing things outside of your comfort zone that I think is important. It gives you opportunities. And, uh, I try to do things to encourage my students to have that experience, but it does get increasingly difficult. Werewolf says, which is why the whole YouTuber outro of subscribe, like if you liked it, hit that bell icon exists. Much as people make fun of it on the internet, it exists because those same people refuse to encourage the algorithm to support the creators they're viewing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Artie says, I swear one of my cats has the sixth sense. Generally speaking, he avoids me, but when I am getting my supper ready, or he'll come and sit next to my computer chair. Yes. So yeah, I just think there are a lot of things that people don't realize are very useful skills that they don't realize because convenience, I guess. Like, I suppose it is easier to just ask Chat GPT what's important rather than go to the library and look yourself. But you lose a lot if you do that. Automation is only good if it speeds up the things you already know how to do. You know? You know what I mean? Jared said there's a kind of a similar thing to channel surfing with streaming services. Want to watch a movie? Just scroll through the list. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Kron says, I only watch YouTube from the subscriptions feed because I would like to see the things I subscribe to. Please stop trying to make decisions for me. Yeah. 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 Also, I clearly have a different YouTube than other people. I also have a different Reddit than other people. A lot of people are like, oh, Reddit's full of people who are XYZ. I was like, I don't really run into those people so much. Maybe I don't go to the same places that you go to. Like, I hang out on a lot of like RPG Reddit and Professor Reddit. Like, Ask Historians is where I hang out. So I don't tend to get the same Reddit as some other folks. And I think that, again, it's the silos that Hawkeye was talking about that yeah, uh, yeah. But I probably care more about that than most people. Yeah, as a survivor, absolutely, Krellin. But I think those things are important, right? I think those things are important. Anyway, Maury says, I do love a good clear night. Full bellies, cool air. Others have spoken about how the night is often to them more alive and full of color than the day. Uh, It's always reassuring to sit under old Papu. Can't beat a soft night breeze rustling his leaves. I don't know how you managed to make that sound promiscuous, Maury. It's a knack. I feel old. And yet Papa was old even when I was a boy. Hmm. Nice to see the kids having fun. Indeed. Hmm. Indeed. Oh, oh, old people, yay. I wonder if, will they say more things? Ooh, I know I should go to bed. That was not her accent, but that's fine. But I just want a little more night air. Well, I'm here as long as you want. I am, primarily because I need you to wheel me home. You joker. Aw, aw, aw. We need to find Tung and Mew. So let's wander about our village and see if we can find them on our way before we, I guess, end. There they are. That's them. That's them. Ooh. I am going to move my Dr. Pepper, which I get to drink when I stream, over here. Um, that is actually how I discovered the show Castle, says Artie. I was up at the trailer we had, and then the TV. There was only got 2 channels that just happened to be playing on the one real channel we got. Too bad the show went downhill very quickly at the end. Yes, yes. I think that was very vocal fan demand, Artie, but I quite liked Castle in the beginning. Atomica says, "Oh, I have friends who get banned constantly from Facebook and YouTube comment sections." And I'm just like, how? Why? Like, just stay out of the cesspool. Yeah, yeah. Atomic, it reminded me, I saw No Stupid Questions. Somebody said, I see that there are people who do not hide their post history on Reddit. Why? Why wouldn't you hide your post history? Like, obviously. And someone's like, because I don't post anything I'm ashamed about. Like, why would I? And that was sort of interesting, this sort of like difference between people who maybe they troll a lot and they don't want people to see that they've trolled, and people who just don't, versus people who didn't even know you could. Like, that's all. Or people who are not ashamed of their trolling. Basically, I just thought it was interesting. Hawkeye says, best job I had when young was in the college library. Oh, working the closing shift? Yeah. Learned how info was organized, learned to run things without supervision, repair copy machines, how to plan ahead for projects, i.e. how long interlibrary loans took. Yes, that was so... I loved working in the library. It was such a good... I learned so much. I'm not a librarian, but I learned a lot. Krellin S. Trooper, is this about halfway for the giveaway? I would say after this conversation with Mew and Tongue, that would be the time for the giveaway. That's what I think. Schmelzer says, to be fair, the algorithm can also on occasion turn up some interesting things, but it takes so much weeding out to train it. Did find some good cooking channels that way, though. Yeah, sometimes I find really interesting things through the algorithm, but it's so like, oh, you watched a cooking video? Here's like 5 more. And I was like, thanks. I guess I didn't want that many. Oh, okay. And so sometimes I just will log in to YouTube incognito just to see what things I'll get otherwise, if they don't know me. Feel better for a bit of air? Oh, hey, settle an argument for us. I've been thinking of this melody for a while. What do you think? Oh, I'm not getting any... Oh, she's not saying it. I just made that up on the fly. I don't know if it's good or not. I think we should make it real loud when we play it. Huh. We've been grooving by our plants. Sort of like the way Mew hums it. Quiet. Hey, do you play anything? Piano for a while. Mum kind of forced me. By the way, make sure you say something in chat, because after this conversation, we're going to do a giveaway. We're going to do multiple giveaways. At least 2. I play drums. Loud. Which I like, but it doesn't always fit the songs. You've got a stupid soft voice. Shut up. I love to hear you guys. Huh? You will. We're playing this week for sure. Oh, hey, Kai. I was thinking. I have this real cool spot where I swim. Want to come along tomorrow? Oi, no fair. You never show me a swim spot. It's my quiet place, but Kai's only around for a bit. No fair. Cool. It's a real chill place. I'll draw you a map and drop it over at dawn. But keep the secret from this one. Ha ha. See you in the morning. Well, I clearly got the checks that I needed. Don't worry, Kai. I'll drop off the map in the morning. Don't forget to make a copy before it self-destructs. Well, this means I think we've done all the things we need to do for um, tonight, except go back to our house and talk to our grandpa. And I want to talk to our grandpa and then do our giveaway because it'll be like a new day and it'll feel like we've accomplished all of the things we need to accomplish and we'll have been, you know, advanced, I guess. Oh, hey, grandpa, we're going to talk to him and then we'll, or not, then we'll do a giveaway. We're going to do at least two, maybe three, depending on the vibe. We'll see. So just make sure you say something. There you are. What did you think of the famous Tuesday night barbecue? Uh, I'm going to talk about how people talked about him. Everyone was so happy to hear you're feeling better. They all think that I fixed you just by showing up. I didn't mention the Drakaina. Probably wise. And my old friend Yoke, did you see him? Um, oh, yeah. Um, they were trying to figure out how long ago it was you arrived. They said that you sort of hold everyone together. Well, that makes me feel quite emotional. But please, tell me how they all seemed. Well, Bopek's quite young, right? Indeed, 12, I believe. Bit of an awkward age gap to the other younger villagers. Think he might be a bit lonely. I see. Can I help? Just keep an eye on things, huh? If you see people aren't treating him so well, perhaps you can talk to him. If you feel comfortable, of course. Thank you for sharing this with me, my girl. But it's late. You must be so tired. I certainly am. As you see, I'm lying in the bed. It looks like I'm sleeping. But bed, I think, huh? Good night, Kai. It is a late night. I am a bit, says the thing. I look at the follow-up and it says, I hate getting up at dawn, though. I thought a week off from swim practice would mean I could sleep in. I guess I should report back to Grandpa at the barbecue. He really cares about everyone, even though it's him who needs looking after. Well, it looks like I'm beat, and it looks like I'm going to bed, right? Because I don't think there's anything to do. Yeah, everybody looks like they're asleep, huh? We probably should just go to bed. Yeah. Polygeek, how are you? I was sad to miss your Saturday stream, but Thanksgiving in Canada, full day. Hey, you know what, Polygeek? Here's the thing. Artie Snack donated, sent a donation, and wished a happy Canadian Thanksgiving to everyone. And so that was really nice. And so there was like happy Thanksgivings. And also we're going to do a giveaway right now. This moment, we're good. We're going to do a giveaway, but make sure you say something in chat while I pull up my codes and also catch up on chat. And also, it's so good to see everybody. By the way, I am caught up on Critical Role and also Midst, in case anybody wants to know. I am caught up. So the first giveaway we're going to do is a game that I have played on stream already, and it's really, really good. I just didn't have the code when I streamed it, so that's a bummer, but it's really good. Hellblade: Senua's Sacrifice. Great voice acting. Really, really cool game. We're going to do that as our first giveaway. And then the second one we're going to do is Vampire the Masquerade: Coteries of New York, which is sort of like a bit more visual novel-y, I think. We're going to do both of those. We're going to do Hellblade first, and then Vampire Chronicles of New York, and just know it. Let's see. Ressa, what are the giveaways? Rissa knows. I'm back with my fish. Wait, who let Trooper start the game? Quick, someone get off on a tangent. I hate doing annotation. Yeah, I turn my YouTube watch history and suggestions off so I can only see stuff I search for in them. Yeah, I do. What I do whenever I'm going to go and upload a new RPG video, like for a new show, I'll go over to somebody gave me this tip. when you're trying to figure out what tags to put on your videos, go over to the incognito window and start searching for like traveler and see what suggestions pop up and then use that as a tag. That was the pro tip that I was given, and that's what I do. Wait, did I listen to the Midst finale? I think I might be missing one episode of Midst. The last one I listened to was Grace, which I don't think is the finale. I don't think. Um, I think. I think there must be one more. I think there's one more that I saw that it was not out yet for non-subscribers when I looked last for when I was riding the bike. Let me check. Because this is now important and interesting. If for those of you who are not listening to the podcast Midst, it's very good and I recommend it. I think it's very cool, and I am a fan of it. All right, where did you go? Podcasts? No podcasts. Oh, where did I put you? I put you under media. Let's see. I'm gonna check Midst. All right, so the last episode, episode 18, went live yesterday, and I have not listened to it yet. That is the one thing that I am currently missing. And so I don't have the finale, but I have the episode right before it. So I'm missing the finale. That's so exciting. Okay. So I have something to listen to on my next bike ride. Very excited. In case anyone wants the link for the first episode of the play section of Roleplay Reflects, you can do all those things to appease the algorithm. Thank you, Artie. Thank you. This has been the first stream I've been on where I can chat with you before since the first play episode of Roleplay Reflect Cycle 1. So much to talk about. Hellblade is too heavy for me, so that'll be a pass for me just in case I somehow win. Fair enough. The last episode was you put this. Oh, was it? Oh, okay. I'm excited for the finale. Also, I keep remembering I need to look up something that I want to check in on, and that is Rawfield said something. Dr. Ripley said something that I wanted to look up. By the way, our winner for Hellblade, by the way, is Polygeek. Polygeek, have you played Hellblade? Senua's Sacrifice, and also do you have a PC? Oh yeah, let me pre-announce that I already own Shadows of New York 2. Okay, I got you. Polygeek, do you have it? Because I would like to give it to you. And I'm going to, okay, perfect. Polygeek, I'm going to send you a message right now. I'm going to send you a whisper. And it's going to be for the code for Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice. I don't think it's that long. If you would just test it, it's for Steam. Just test that you can download it so that it actually does work. Let me know. You have to go there, there's a thing. And then we're going to do Vampire the Masquerade Chronicles of New York to see who's going to get that one. By the way, I just need you all to know that you are helping. Pope, do you have Chronicles of New York? Pope, do you have it? If you don't, I'm going to give it to you. Let me know. Oh, perfect. Okay, this is just absolutely perfect, and I am overjoyed. Yay. What a good day. So the thing is, I have the subscription to the Humble Choice bundle, but I don't play PC games, only Mac. So I will usually get in a bundle of 8. I don't lose money. It's what, $10 a month or whatever, something like that. And I usually get enough games that I can play, and so it's worth it. But then I have these games I can't play, and I want to give them away to you all. And so you are helping me out by accepting them, and this makes me happy. Also, I just really, I like to sharing is caring, and that makes me happy. And I'm just writing down what we did. Great. Perfect. Yay. You have it in VR. Oh. Jer, what's it like in VR? This would be my question for you. It is Coteries of New York. Vampire the Masquerade, Coteries of New York. That was the one. It is. So speaking of VR, I've never really thought about, well, I mean, I've thought about VR because I've watched sci-fi from the 80s, obviously. But do you have, Krellin, do you have Coteries of New York? But I um, never thought about getting a VR rig because like it was like, oh, you have all of those. Because it was the Oculus, and I was like, well, that's like $1,000 or whatever it was, madness. I was like, I don't think I can do that. And also I'm not like, I was like, oh, I don't know. But uh it's still over the shoulder, but the voices are more directional and the line of sight pulses are intense. Oh, that's cool. So I have heard that the PS5's VR, like the Sony PS5 VR thing, is good, that it's like that it's good. And so it's like hovering in my consciousness as a possibility. Like, is that what I'm gonna do? Am I gonna do that? Maybe. I'm not thinking about it now, but maybe one day I will get one. Hawkeye says, Workday is down, now at the workbench. Step one of Project Chameleon is success. You should tell us more about that. I would like to know about it. Also, I think we should probably go to bed, right? Like, it's late at night, and we could. So it's late at night, right? And we could very definitely wander around, but I think that we should probably go to sleep, right? And start day three like a champ, I think. Wednesday, dawn. Hey, Kai. Uh, I swear, I only just went to sleep. I was, asleep? What? Ooh, map to the secret pond. Ooh, here's a map to the swim spot. Head out past the archive, okay? Uh, sorry. Yeah, totally looking forward to it. Yeah, totally. Oh, let's see. Post, please post. So there's a Steam app that can basically make a PSVR usable for Steam VR. Huh. PSVR is probably the best plug and play one if you want to avoid Oculus. So, oh, okay. Ooh, I'm learning things. Pope World, you're only going to have time to play one path of Coteries. I recommend playing the. If you're only going to have time to play one path of Coteries, I recommend playing the Toreador path. So the thing about the Oculus is that I think you have to be at a PC for it, maybe, or is it only Linux, or is it Raspberry Pi? Like I feel like there was a thing with it, and I was like, I don't. I think you've like a really. There was some reason why back in the day I was like, I don't think I can pick this up, but the PSVR is pretty plug and play. Might be good, maybe. Oh, Ace really passed away. A lot of people have died recently in the last like couple of days. Miss Major. So I'm giving a talk on the 31st, actually. So, by the way, just announcement, I'm not streaming on the 31st, which is a Friday. There'll be no gamblers on Friday because some of the players are doing Halloween things, and I'm giving a talk at the University of Washington, and they're going to want me to go and talk to the grad students afterwards, so we'll not be back in time because of time zone differences. So, no stream for me on the 31st. I will just letting you know. But when the talk I'm giving about a bunch of like sort of black trans women from the 70s and drag queens from the 70s, including Miss Major who just died. So like Ace Frehley, Miss Major, Diane Keaton died of pneumonia, just like a bunch of people. You know, they weren't young though, but still. Artie says, has anyone played a good Next Fest? Oh, any good Next Fest demos? So far, Paradise, the new Voyager game, and Heroes of Might and Magic, Olden Era, the demos I've really enjoyed. Oh, I should check it out, actually. Artie, I should do that. Zanzibar says, I've got a Viva, and it's good, but requires space for non-C to play. Index is similar. I wonder how... So, one of the things I've been looking into is how you stream VR and still watch chat, because that's the thing. Like I'm streaming and like I want to watch chat, and so I think there's like maybe a plugin that allows you to overlay the chat so you can see what it says. Because if I couldn't see chat, then I wouldn't be happy. I wouldn't be happy, right? I want to, if I'm going to stream it, I want to see what you're saying, because that's how else am I going to be distracted if I can't see what you're saying? So there is some kind of way to do it, and I have to research that more. Yes. Doesn't it require a Facebook account to use the Oculus, maybe? Oh, that must be new. The last time I looked at the Oculus was a while ago. Yeah. You don't really need as beefy a PC as people used to think for VR. Oh, but you do need a GPU. That's okay. Yeah, it was 74. Yeah. Oh, it looks like the app I'm thinking of is PC only. No. Oculus is owned by Meta. There's a Steam app that's free for doing this via... Oh. There are Steam programs that overlay chat. Uh-huh. Okay. Because in the end, this is like, that's like the big thing for me. Like, I wouldn't... Polygeek knows, all of you know who've been here. I personally would not have as much fun playing Heaven's Vault without you all. Because it's, for me, it is really fun hearing what you have to say, and like there's great joy in my life when Hawkeye pops up and says, actually, here's a pharmaceutical thing. I was like, oh, now I know this thing. Like, it's a way that we share things with each other, and it really makes the experience more fun for me. So I would be sad if I couldn't look at chat. Sleeping. Well, he's asleep. Well, what is our, all right. I want to drop it on Yoke before I head off to see Mew. Meet Mew for a swim out past the archive near a bus stop. Do we have a map? We do have a map. We have a map to Mew's secret pond with a scrawled note. Find the bus stop in front of a large building. Go through the bushes to the left of the bus stop. Bring swimming stuff. Mew. And I have a towel. So that's good. Map. Yeah, let's, you know what I think we should do? I think we should go to our garden, though, just to see how it's doing, because I don't know how we have to take care of gardens yet. And, there might be a thing. Rooftop Garden. I just want to, oh. It's making music. We're going to make a new garden at some point. Let's just tend the plants, I guess, and see if there's anything. Like, I don't know if we have to take care of it or do something, you know what I mean? Let's see. So this is growing old, so I guess we should probably harvest it. I don't know if we can we? I suppose we salvage it. Because I think we have to do this, right? I think that we should probably take care of our plants before we go. I just, and then let's salvage this. Because I don't want to, I don't want to, they haven't told us. The plant is doing very well here. It's healthy, it's mature. Mature seems good, right? So maybe we don't have to take this one. This is healthy and mature. Oh, this can now be harvested. We're still learning about our gardens. This is healthy, mature. This is healthy, mature. This is growing old. So let's salvage it. Oh, we've just lost the Pacific, so we don't have enough Pacific plants here. Fair enough. And this is growing old, so we'll salvage this as well. And you know what we didn't do? We didn't check to see what it said it needed. Well, we've got our plant hanging out. I think we leave. I don't think we grow new things yet. I think we wait until the game tells us more stuff. Because what if we have like a garden quest right away? I don't want to, wrong way to go. I don't want to plant a bunch of seeds if in 5 seconds they want us to do a whole different thing. So I just want to wait, because I feel like we're still sort of in the tutorial zone where they might say, you've done a Pacific garden, now you need to do a Atlantic garden or a Mediterranean garden. And so I want to hold off on the planting new garden, but I am really excited to see what a different garden will sound like, and I hope we get the chance to do a different garden to see what it will sound like. So nothing here. There are those dots, and they seem to be slightly aggressive. But maybe we can chat with them. Yep. Yep. I don't think I need to go near the scary dots with weapons right now. No, I guess I don't. I just wanted to be friends. But they seem to be quite distressed, so let's go, I guess. And also, hey, look, chicken. Sorry, it's a chicken. There's a whole town full of all these people, and I wonder how they're doing and like what's happening with their lives. But I did want to see Yoke. And Yoke, where do I find Yoke? Hold on, let me look at the map. Yoke is found. There's Nona's hut, Mori's stir fry, Jella's home, the bathhouse, the archive. Yoke is in the archive, right? So I should probably, what I think I'll do is I'll head out east, and I think Yoke is in the archive. So let's head out east, and maybe we can find Yoke. If Yoke is not there, we will head back, I guess. Do you know what I like about this art? Side note. What I like about the art is that it reminds me of construction paper. It very much to me looks like construction paper. Do you know what I mean? Like the kind of thing, I mean, like really good, obviously. But it sort of looks like construction paper, like you could imagine somebody making these things themselves. And I think that's kind of cool. But I don't... This is Yoke. So we're here. I'm going to catch up on chat before I read it. Let's see. I was thinking about your streams when Kolo was streaming earlier, as she got distracted with a chat discussion during gaming. I love Kolo. Speaking of which, I need to go and DM Kolo again, because we were DMing quite a bit during the game, and then ADHD means that we kind of like just got off of that moment. But never really like a Trooper 30 to 45 minute style distraction. What? They are the dots that say neat and tick. They are the knights, yes. Oh yeah, I could totally say it. It's like flat color but with a bit of rough texture. Exactly! Polygeek, that's exactly what I'm thinking. It's the kind of the rough texture that makes it feel like it's a... Like if you look at the harpsichord, that really looks like it's paper. Like it's construction paper. Like you can kind of see that kind of slightly rough texture of construction paper. And that's cool. I mean, I like that. Oh, good morning. Now, what's this I hear? That you have nursed that sorry-looking soil above Nono's into something wonderful? How did you hear that? No such thing as a secret here, I'm afraid. Mentioned to me both by Mori and Mew when she wheeled me over here. Did the process make clearer any of the mysteries of the encyclopedia? Yes. Side note. Remember when I was talking to you about the woman from Eichach? Well, here's something interesting. I said, what's it like living in such a small town? And she said, if you need sugar, there's somebody there. But if you come home late, there's also somebody always watching. And they knew who you come home with. And they're going to tell your folks, did you know so-and-so came home at 1 in the morning with such and such? And she's like, and I don't like that. And I imagine that's the the plus and the negative of living in a small town. Everybody like that. What's that? Cheers. You want to go where people know the troubles are all the same. You want to go where everybody knows your name. Sometimes you don't want to go where everybody knows your name. Sometimes you don't want everybody to know your name. Sometimes it's cool when everybody knows your name, but sometimes it's less cool when everybody knows your name. That's all. That's all. Uh, yeah, yeah. Ko said the same thing about you. Oh, I do. I adore Kolo. I do. I've got things on my mind. I've got things on my mind, and you know when you're like, okay, what a great crew. What do I want to do? What do I want to like? You don't have it all set yet in your mind, but you're like, this is such a great crew. The Dreamers crew is so good. Like, what's the next step? And you're like, I can't think about this just yet, but you let it percolate. I like to let you know how it is. They say that you should let your mind, like, it's important to put your mind to something and then do something else because then your subconscious will percolate on the thing and then it'll come to you. Uh, yeah. Your business. Yep. So does Negs ever mention? Oh, I love Negs too. There's such good people. I had so much fun watching Kolo play Skyrim for the first time. A very fun. Oh, Kolo's great. Kolo's great. Speaking of which, yeah, I sometimes call that backbraining. Oh, yeah, I think it's really good. I think that sometimes people forget that you need your mind to like percolate on things sometimes. I have no idea who any of these people are. Oh, they're all over on Table Story. They are, I think, for the most part, video game streamers, but they stream RPGs over on Table Story, and they're very, very kind people. You know what I mean? Um, my ideal fellow player, if I'm playing at a table with somebody, is somebody who does two things at the same time. One, they don't take things personally, but two, they're also personally invested to make sure that everybody is cool. Do you know what I mean? In the sense that like Kolo's character was like mean to my character briefly, and Kolo's like, "Are you okay with this?" I am totally fine. Like I know that you are not your character, and I'm not my character. When your character was sort of like standoffish towards my character, I did not take it personally, but I liked that Kolo was the kind of person that would ask. Do you know what I mean? Like that for me is like a really nice you ask because you care, right? But also uh you're yeah, it's like there's like a really nice there's like it's that kind of mix of it is cool, but you actually care to make sure it's cool. Like you just don't assume, and you also do care that it is cool, but it is also cool. That is like nice. Also, because the thing is, sometimes it's not cool, and if somebody does care, then and it's not cool, then it comes out and you can talk about it and fix it. So like that's what I like. Yes. Max is like, boom, I'm your favorite player. Yes. Oh, Tremors 4. Ooh. Hey, Ryder, how are you? Um, yeah, boredom and daydreaming lets our brains figure stuff out so much. Alexander Griffin, it's really true. There's a lot of your brain does a lot of work, right? In downtime. And uh, if there's one thing that I really try to get my students to do, and they do not always listen to me, they're like, how can we get better? What can we do? I said, one of the best things you can do is sit down somewhere nice or go for a walk, like sit under a tree and like doodle or daydream for a bit, take a walk. Like you need time to for your brain to process what you've learned. If you're only just cramming, like you do have to study and read, absolutely. But after you study and read, Like if you could just like sit and let your mind ponder a little bit for an hour, that will be one of the best things you can do to help you really learn the things you need to learn. Because if you don't process it, it's not gonna sink, Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's really, hey, Alexander Griffin, 100%. On Twitch, they are, hello, it's Colo and Negogorix. Negorix. They're good eggs, they are. Yeah, Negs is off to TwitchCon. Oh, so I can watch other streamers when I would normally be watching Negs. Max says, you should watch Seth Sikorski's latest video. Oh, it's about closed versus open roleplay and has needs for making sure people know you're role-playing. Yes. Darth Cripple Hulk. Yeah, yeah. It's interesting because there are a lot of thoughts about. Also, some people, I blame method actors. Hey, friend, how are you, friend? We're gonna raid you. You know that, right? Because you're on roll D5. We're gonna raid you today. I put it on my list. I said it even. It's like how Abria, and B Dave were holding hands at the table when they were on Kolok as their characters are absolutely tearing into each other. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Polygeek says, ADHD means sometimes the back of my brain is thinking through interesting things and sometimes singing the Oompa Loompa song from Willy Wonka. Okay, now Polygeek, now my ADHD brain is going to be singing the Oompa Loompa song because it's a great song. This is 100% true. This is true. Darth Credible Hulk says, 2 a.m. here in Europe. Time for me to get some sleep. Oh, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Thanks for the stream. I'm glad I caught one because I'd only previously seen you as Oleander. Well, I'm so glad that you were here. Thank you for being here, Darth. And I'm excited to, be back in those antlers or whatnot sometime soon. Wait, it's still Thursday. Wait. Or just have golden. Yeah. Hey, I'm a meth editor. Stop. Oh, I've got another. I'm ready for the riddle. Blamed. So the thing is, what people are doing, like, there's character work and there's method app, and they're not always the same thing. You know what I mean? What do you do with a hungry kitten? What do you do with a hungry kitten? Probably different from what you do with a drunken sailor. What do you do with a hungry kitten? Oh, okay, it's a riddle. It's a riddle. What do you do with a hungry kitten? Claws, kibble, feed, pet, kitten, not cat. That is meaningful. Okay, what do you do? There's gonna be some kind of exciting pun. What do you do with a hungry kitten? We're not talking about Sandy Claus. That's a different thing. That's Max says, feed it. Krellin says, Max wins. You're right. You're right. That is correct. And I love that. Yes. Yes. Artie says to Darth, if you're looking for another TTRPG to watch, then I cannot recommend Tidal Blades with the same cast high enough. I love Tidal Blades. Feed it muesli. Oh, Polygeek, that's good. Muesli? Yeah, yeah, yeah. What do you do with a... Yeah, yeah, yeah. A punt gun makes an appearance at Tremors 4. Love that. I did enjoy Tidal Blades. Oh, I guess the little symbols. I don't for sure, but you just made me think. Look, I know this sounds mega stupid, but I think I can hear the plants. Oh, go feed the kitties, Krellin. Maybe the symbols say what sound they make? Hi, I would never call you stupid. Thank you for confiding in me. Grandpa won't tell me anything, though. I suppose you heard about your grandfather, but thought that it must be just stories? Well, the truth is, things are a little different here. But what Nono's practice unlocks is just nature. Balance and energy. I'll be uncertain. So, I can't, like, mess it up? All energy, all nature, is power. Like the ocean that you don't mess around with. It is dangerous and beautiful, like the ocean that you don't turn your back on when you're playing around in it, because, Riptides, beguiling and terrible, like the ocean that has also sea monsters. You must trust Nono, though. Um, Now, where are you off to on this fine morning? Uh, I'm going for a swim. Wonderful. That sounds like just the thing. Take the time to relax. Oh, that conversation ended quickly. Do drop by on your way back. I may even dust down the harpsichord and play you a tune. Oh, ooh, I love harpsichord music, everybody. I love harpsichord music, and I have something to tell you about the harpsichord as I'm doing a quick run around to make sure I'm not missing anything before I go and recheck chat, because walking is the best space for reading chat. Thing to tell you about the harpsichord. 1960s British spy media had lots and lots of harpsichord. When American spy media was really sort of leaning into jazz and surf sounds, not James Bond, which was really very clearly going for an international audience, but British, especially television, lots of harpsichord actually. And that is super interesting, I think. And I just wanted to share that with you. Oh, okay. Huh. Hmm. All right. I'm going to read chat. Oh, chat just moved on me. Just moved. Uh, did I tell you? Wait. Darth says, wait. I missed a comment. Oh, right. Yeah. Polly says, oh gosh, yes, but have a box of tissues ready for the finale. About Tidal Blades, yeah. Yep. And then Artie's like, well, for most of their episodes, really, but sometimes the tears are like wholesome tears. Max says, did I tell you my plan in the Down Darker Trails game to separate all the investigators at the beginning of the scenario somehow worked? No. How did it go? I did not think it would, but it did. Say more. House of Dreams says, Tidal Blades was good. Was that when I got to play it on Dax's channel, I made a character that was inspired by a younger version of Drax's character. Oh, nice. Nice. I love that. Yeah, fair point, says Polygeek. The Dreamers and PB do seem to get in the feels regularly. Well, I think what I think is so lovely about it is everybody's just so open, just willing to like just be there, Like to be I think it's because we feel really safe with each other, so we can just we can go there with our characters. Yeah. Yeah, they did a live version of Golden, so I've been watching that and I've had that stuck in my head now. There was a harpsichord in Tremors 4. There's a harpsichord in the Avengers. There's a harpsichord in The Prisoner. There's harpsichord in Danger Man. There's just like a lot of harpsichord actually. Just noting it. Not so much in American spy media from the time period, but in British spy media, lots of harpsichord. Lots. Well, I'm going to have to disagree on behalf of the ocean. Not about turning your back, though. Waves can be tricksy. Now, by the way, please note, I love the ocean. I love it. I love it more than anything. I'm very much an ocean person. But, like, I'm not going to turn my back on the ocean. I'm not going to wade out there, waist deep in the ocean. I'm also, side note, this is, I do have to give you a bit of context. I grew up on the West Coast, and the West Coast has a quick drop off and pretty active waves, which is awesome, right? Because you can play in them, and it's cold. But you're not gonna, you don't turn your back on the ocean. Like, you just don't do that because it will get you. Like, I have a deep love of the ocean and a respect for it because, the Pacific is gonna tell you stuff. It's gonna tell you stuff. Oh, House of Dreams. That sounds cool. Takes me back to LARP days. Bouncing between scenes to thread a narrative together can be so fun. Don't let me forget West Marches. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands definitely believe that the ocean was dangerous. Max says, yep, they're all apart. two snatched up by two separate groups. One went away with another group, and the last is going to trail a weirdo who says he has answers. It all went crazy as they tried to get off the stage. Oh, I love that. I love that. I will say though, I can see the Bond intro being played on the harpsichord. Me too. Me too. Max says, they roll into Olympia, Washington territory, and the woman gets off and is met by some people who also catch the luggage thrown off the stage before it hits the mud. Meanwhile, the Native American investigator exits the other side, gets his things, and is called to an alley by another Native American. Gunfire erupts from the right side of the stage. It's at the woman. The men who helped her out whisk her away to a carriage. That seems bad. Or good, I don't know. NPC salesman freezes in terror in one doorway. Large African American cowboy, think Shaq, is trying to get out the other and draws and turns towards gunfire. Okay, this sounds very, very dramatic, and I'm loving it. Two other investigators are trapped in the coach by these two. They finally manage to get out too late to see the two have already left. Love that. Love that. House of Dreams says, in Worlds Beyond Number, Taylor Moore used the harpsichord in the score for a major villain, the Wizard Glass. It's such a great piece of storytelling via score. Ooh, love that. Yeah. Where I live, you can walk out like 100 feet or more. Oh, in low tide in most places. Oh, Zanzibar, not at all. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I grew up in San Francisco where you cannot walk out very far at all before there's a steep drop off and you like it's over your head real fast, really, really fast, which means there's good surfing. But yeah, no, no. When I first went to the East Coast, pardon me, and I went to the beach in Florida, and I was like, I've just walked out 50 feet and it's still at my knees, and there are no big waves, and I feel like I can turn my back on the ocean and it will not get me. What is happening? And it's not cold. Huh. What? It was a shocking revelation. I just never, I'd never seen the ocean, an ocean that had done that before. It was cool, but I was like, oh, huh. It's a very different ocean than the one I grew up with, which is just a bit more aggressive. But please note, I really enjoyed growing up with that aggressive ocean. One of the things we would do as a kids, we would like to take a tennis ball, and we'd throw the tennis ball into the waves, and the tennis ball would bring the waves would bring the tennis ball. So we'd play catch. That was one of the things we used to do as a kid all the time. I was like within walking distance of the beach in San Francisco, and we'd like take our tennis ball, our old janky tennis ball, and we'd go play catch with the waves, and that was just like super fun. That was like maybe that's like that might sound boring to people, I guess, but it was really fun for me. Like we just like play catch with the waves. That was like I was like it's good times. I love that. Um, yeah. Max says, one goes down the alley after the shooters. More squawking and more paint. He gets caught by two more and taken away. Meanwhile, the soldier gets out of the stage but botches his dex check to cross the muddy street and runs into a woman who's been injured somehow, so he stops to help her. The woman in the carriage tells her captors she is not who they think she was, Penelope Hearst, the greatest thief in the world, and they reluctantly tell her she'll have to stay with them as they've already revealed they're after the silver. Treasure hunters? The Russians with them are Narodniks, peaceful politicals. Ooh. Uh, Zanzibar says, I'm up in Maine, though, so it varies beach to beach. Oh, interesting. Saco Bay is pretty mild, but it is cold up here. Yeah, cold in San Francisco, too. Like that kind of like warm, like less warm. But so Zanzibar, you're up in Maine, right? And Maine, my understanding is Maine is really, like, there are parts of Maine. I went up to Maine once to play soccer when I was in college. But there are parts of Maine that are super remote. Like, you're like remote. Like maybe not all of Maine, right? But I mean, like there's parts of Maine, like stretches of Maine with no cell coverage and super remoteness. I wonder what the beaches are like in Maine because you're so far up there. Like, do you have good waves? Like, are there places with good waves? Max says the Native American is taken by the Squaxin to a longhouse and sees pictures of their party drawn on the wall. Oh, the sister, the brother, the soldier, and the thief. We've been expecting you. Ooh, spooky. The one who went down the alley is tied up and taken in a canoe somewhere where he's in prison for now, but about to be interrogated. Ooh, so good. Polygeek says, hey, there's still Canada on the other side of Maine. But this is what I mean. Like, and also Polygeek, the other side of Maine, right? That's where you've got Newfoundland, right? And Halifax and Nova Scotia. Prince Edward, the Maritimes, right? And the Maritimes have such cool history. I'm a little obsessed with them. And it's not just because of Anne of Green Gables. It's also because of Africville and how that area was like the end of the Underground Railroad and like Black Canadians from Nova Scotia from way, way back. And also the folk song Nova Scotia Farewell as sung by the 1960s Canadian folk duo Ian and Sylvia, which has always been a favorite of mine. So I'm just saying, I've got some like fantastical, fantastical images of the Maritimes. I don't know how fun it is to grow up there, but you know, I mean, it seems exciting. Uh, Up north, it's all logging roads and some potato fields. Oh, interesting. Interesting. Polygeek. Yep, New Brunswick borders Maine, and then PEI, Nova Scotia are east of there. Then Newfoundland is on its own in the cold North Atlantic. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Uh, Going down the Allagash is a good remote trip, though it's like a 6-hour drive to start from most towns. Yeah, Maine's really big, right? Max says, the Squaxin are two groups, one peaceful and the other more aggressive, who are trying to find a lost egg that fell from the sky 11,000 years ago, and which their cult, the Guardians, used to protect, but over the millennia, they lost its location. This seems bad. The weirdo is working with the Migo, kind of crazy, and they're looking for the thing too. That also seems bad. I'm thinking about adding some thieves who have learned about the silver and are just there to cause problems for everyone, which sounds good. I spent all afternoon going down the rabbit hole of researching Olympia in 1877. Yeah. I was just looking up newspapers from the Seattle area in the late 1800s. It's like a 12-hour ferry from Nova Scotia to Newfoundland. Oh my goodness. I'm going to sing something for you all in a second, but not right now. In a second. Lovely fresh air this morning. I can't remember what her voice was. As soon as I woke up, I knew I needed to get out. Do you ever get that feeling? Like you need to fill your lungs up with freshness? Like a thirst. Yeah. I love mornings like that. Anyway, I thought I'd stop and pick some berries. These make wonderful tea. By the way, everybody, Hector is going to be in a charity stream tonight, and we're going to raid into him, just so you know. I saw Mew pass by earlier. Are you looking for her? I'm sure you can catch up with her. She went east from here toward the swamps. Well, I was looking for her. Drop by the salon at lunchtime if you like. Streaming till 6 or 6:30. I would say we're looking at I would say 6:15. About 6:15 or so. I would say I'd say about 6:15. Yeah. Oh, last spoiler. The egg is actually a million downloaded minds, from an alien world before their planet was destroyed. Now they want out and will take anybody they can get. That seems bad. The thing was in space for like 11 million years before it fell to Earth. Also seems bad. Yep. Oh no, it was canceled. Oh no. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. You have any reschedule? Just let me know when you do. So if it's on a Thursday, I can raid in. It was moved by the ancient squawks into a dodecahedron shaped cave with great pieces of quartz that acts as a protective barrier for the things in the meteor. The Spanish were called by it and took the silver into the chamber before they alight. No, Max, that's bad. Not you. The people who did that. Zanzibar says, we do get some decent waves, though most places I go are not the big surf spots. I find some of the surf culture I've heard about makes me want to avoid it. I get you. For my hobbies, I prefer not to have a rough shore break. That's fair. Max says, I expect a few zombies or skeletons. Maybe I haven't finished it yet. It's called Fallen from the Farthest Star. Oh, I love that. Hawkeye says, Trooper, phase 1 pick on Discord. Ooh, so exciting. Thank you, Hawkeye. There is a documentary that I'm going to... Now you're done. There's a documentary that I would like to recommend. And I always get the name of the documentary wrong because I do. Just in case you wanted to know, this is a thing that I always get the name of the documentary wrong, and I'm going to have to actually do a quick Google search to get it actually right. Seven symbols. Hey, these are the symbols of the plants. Okay, so there's like a hexagon, a cloud, a star, 3 diamonds, a 4-pointed star, a teardrop, and a heart. Okay, okay. Then we have the great tree. We're learning something now, we have context. Great tree with the big eyes closed mushroom that's underneath it. That's where our friend lives. And then we have people giving offerings to another mushroom. Let's just keep that in our mind for later. Also, by the way, I'm going to just say this right now. We're going to make this official. Everyone, and also I'm speaking to myself, let us note that on this strange rock, there is a lit up dot, but it is not it's like a little bit left of top in case it changes. And also there's a dot on the far. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute, everybody. Wait a minute. I don't think the dots are symbols, but if you notice uh, there are these little smaller stells or things that are surrounding the center one, and the one that's on our left right over here has a light on it, and that I actually think is the um, hexagon, and it's also lighting up that one, and the hexagon is the same symbol of the garden that we planted. So, and if you notice right here, this one looks like a heart, this looks like the teardrop, this is the cloud, this is the multi-pointed star, this must be I guess the three diamonds, and this over here must be the four-pointed star. So I'm thinking that when we create a garden that manifests each of the symbols, I don't know if when we make a new garden that's a different symbol, if that one will turn off or if we collect all of them. I don't know, but I am just making a note about something here that I think is going to be important for later. Let us note that one. Let us note that one. They do seem linked, and so there's something going on here, and there's an experiment we should do at some point, which is making a different garden to see what happens. That seems to be important. Yeah. House of Dreams says, "Oh, well, for sure. I did a bunch of historical research for my character, and I'm excited to share it with folks. I made a now retired young officer in the battalion of Puerto Rico who is now a spy for the independence movement. He's undercover as a hired gun in the United States, getting information on the U.S. only to discover the wealthy and influential forces keeping Puerto Rico under the U.S.'s thumb are also connected to dark supernatural conspiracies." Love it. Ooh, screenshot. Good idea. Good idea, screenshot. House of Dreams, what year? What year is your game set? Let's see. I need a screenshot. Let's do select it, capture entire screen. Let's just take this and hold on. Whoop. Let me open this up. This will probably open up in a new. Yeah, I knew that was going to happen. Great. Let me move this over here. I now have a screenshot. And oh, 1889. Oh. Oh, okay. I see it. So, my people who are uh, hanging out on the eastern Canada, in the Maritimes, there is a song. So when I was a kid, really small, like I was like pre 11, right? Like that young. I got a bunch of LPs that belonged to family friends, and I don't think my parents wanted them, but there were a couple. Ooh, chapter 3, The Wild. We're writing it down because we have to mark our progress. Chapter 3. The Wild. Um, Call of Cthulhu, Max. Max, Call of Cthulhu. Oh, okay. So when I was like pre-11, right? I got a bunch of LPs, like a bunch of LPs that nobody else, I think, in the household wanted. And they all had like sort of like a influence on me. I had a Max Morath plays Scott Joplin. That was a great album. But one of them was Ian and Sylvia's Northern Journey. And Ian and Sylvia, the very popular Canadian folk duo that was part of the, so the folk movement in the United States and in North America had two phases. There was the early phase where you had a bunch of these singer-songwriters, these folk musicians playing just actual folk songs. And then phase two is when they all started becoming singer-songwriters, right? So early folk musicians did not tend to write their own music. They tended to just play folk songs, right? Like a Pete Seeger, right? And they were part of that early crossover phase. Apparently, Ian Tyson introduced Bob Dylan to marijuana. That's what he said in an interview. But they were part of that transition, but they became less popular when they didn't really write. I mean, they did write their own songs, but not in the same way. Anyhow, in this album, Northern Journey, which was a bunch of North songs, folk songs from North America, one of them was Nova Scotia Farewell. And I loved that song. It was such a good, jaunty, sort of like sea song. And goes, the sun was setting in the west, the birds were singing on every tree. Though nature seemed inclined for the rest, but still there was no rest for me. Farewell to Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean toss, will you ever heave a sigh and a wish for me? I have 3 brothers and they are at rest, their arms are folded on their breast. But a poor simple sailor, just like me, must be tossed and driven on the dark blue sea. Farewell, Nova Scotia, the sea-bound coast, let your mountains dark and dreary be. For when I am far away on the briny ocean toss, will you ever heave a sigh and a wish for me? Oh, there was another thing. It was like a sad moment where, like, you get the brothers who are dead, right? The the, the trumps do learn, the lords do alarm. My captain calls me, must obey. So it's farewell, farewell to Nova Scotia's charms. For it's early in the morning and I'm far, far away. Right? So it's like, about like the person who's like called off to sail the oceans and the things that you give up when you lose for that. And anyway, and they have such good harmonies, and I love the song. It's just one of the, like, there are a couple of these songs that are uh clearly maritime songs or ocean songs that are, sometimes they're not sea shanties, sometimes they're just sad, and I also love them too. Makes me think of Pillars of Eternity, Dead Fires. I cannot, as I get to sea shanties. Yes. um as soon as I found the Battle of Puerto Rico was the same year as the Call of Cthulhu one shot was set, my brain exploded and my research hole fell down a research hole. This is my life. This is why I love RPGs and why I'm glad I learned how to do research. I love doing historical research for characters and finding slices of history to bring to life, especially for my own culture and ancestry. Absolutely. Yes. You know how to tell if someone is from Canada? Eh? uh, oh, the year was 1778. Um, the other two, there are a couple that I really love. One of them was there was that one, right? And there was one that was, how did it go? It was, this one was a one where, like, the fellow fell in love with a woman, but he's going to the ocean a lot, and he comes back and he goes to find her, but she's like gonna get married to somebody else, and so he's like, I'm gonna go and be on the, yes, So Early in the Spring, as sung by Judy Collins. And it was so early, I should probably sing that lower. So early, early in the spring, I shipped on board to serve my king. I left my dearest dear behind, She oft-times swore her heart was mine. And all the time I sailed the seas, I could not find one moment's ease in thinking of my dearest dear, but never a word from her could I hear. Oh. At last we came into Glasgow town. I strode the streets both up and down, inquiring for my dearest dear, but never a word from her could I hear. I went straightway to her father's hall, and loudly for my love did call. My daughter's married, she's a rich man's wife. She's wed to another, much better for life. If the girl is married that I adore, I'm sure I'll stay on land no more. I'll sail the seas till the day I die. I'll break the waves prowling the mountainside. It's like, oh, it's so heartbreaking. And like Judy Collins is like this beautiful pure soprano, and like you just want to die because it's just like so heartbreaking. You're like, oh, I'm so sad. Oh, love it, love it. Like I love a good, like, as a person who liked a lot of really emo alternative music with sad people and synthesizers back in the 80s, there are some folk songs that just make you want to just like, oh, it's so sad. I love it so much. So much. Oh, I wish I was in a Sherbrooke now. This makes me a bit off topic, but it is music related. Did you hear that the Lost Boys musical is coming to Broadway in March? No. The musical is being done by an LA-based rock band, The Rescues. The first song dropped, and it's called I Got to Have You. It's an 80s garage rock pastiche, and they got Slash's guitar solo on the official soundtrack for it. Interesting. Are they going to have this song Cry Little Sister from the movie or not? You know, effort, but yes. I don't know. I don't know what I think about them turning a bunch of movies into musicals on Broadway. And I don't know how I feel about it. I'm not saying I don't like it, but I think it's one of those things where, you know what it is? It's like when somebody's like, oh, I have an idea. Why don't I turn this movie into a musical? And they do this really cool thing. You're like, oh, that's awesome. But then everyone's like, oh, if that's an easy way to make money, let's all just turn a bunch of movies into musicals and maybe we can get some nostalgia for it. And then I start feeling a little bit skeptical, right? Because when there's like one or two, you're like, oh, that's cool. But then everyone's like, oh, let's just do more of those. And then I don't always trust that the 17th one is being done out of inspiration. You know what I'm saying? And it might be great. I don't know. But I'm always like, oh, it's like people are like, I hate jukebox musicals. It's like, actually, there are quite a few jukebox musicals I really liked, but then all of a sudden there were 18,000 of them. And not all of them were, some of them were cash grabs, right? So, you know what I mean? You know what I mean? Which is not to say that it won't be awesome. It might just be really great. I just sometimes have questions when somebody does a cool thing and then all of a sudden there are 40 more just like it, but with a different thing all of a sudden. You know what I'm saying? And that's, oh, we are in the swamp. We are getting brand new plants, which I think is very cool. And again, it might be awesome, right? But it's a thing that I think about. Hello, bird. And one of the reasons why I think about it is because I was reading an interview with the people who did the Xanadu musical. And they're like, we're going to make a musical out of Xanadu because the movie was so bad. We just love bad movies. And I was like, I thought Xanadu was awesome. And if you want to make a musical because you think, oh, what is this? Hello, interesting plants. Are you alive? Ooh. Like, if your motivation to make this musical is because you think the original movie's bad and you kind of want to make fun of it, I don't know if I want to see that musical. because I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was awesome. So, but of course, I don't know if they actually thought it was bad or if they were just too embarrassed to say they actually liked it. So these are other things that I actually don't know about the Xanadu musical. I cannot say. But do you know what I'm saying? It could be great. I don't know. I cannot say about that, but I will say it's just one of those things that gives me a little bit of pause. What will happen is I'll probably wait until I get a review of it from somebody who's seen it who says, yeah, it was really good, or um, it was a little mean spirited, or whatever, whatever the thing might be, right? Like the people who make this Lost Boys musical, how do they feel about the Lost Boys? Do they, do they, what are their feelings about it? Do you know what I'm saying? I hope you know what I'm saying. Again, I'm not the person to say that all jukebox musicals are bad because some of them are great, or that like all musicals based on movies are bad because some of them are great, right? That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that when it's the 40th one, that I just want to check in to see what, I'm just a little bit more skeptical, I guess is the best way to put it. Huh, locked. Hmm. By the way, I know that right now, crystal clear. Huh. I know that you all are saying the most amazing things in chat right now. I know that. And I'm going to check chat in as soon as I feel like here. Like new screen, check chat. Let's see. Did I hear about the Pendragon Kickstarter? Is there a new one? Because I feel like I kickstarted something Pendragon. Maybe I didn't. Is it Max? Is it new? Is it new? Oh, you're over here. Sorry. Chat's over here. You're here. Is it new? Please let me know, because if it's new and current, then you should link it in Tabletop Musings so I can look at it. Like the MMO boom after WoW took off. Yeah, and sometimes there's some really great ones, but sometimes you're like, well, low effort. Summation: the creative motives under capitalism are incredibly suspect. Boom. Right, yeah. Max says, my friend loves Xanadu. I love Xanadu. I recognize that maybe it wasn't to everyone's taste, but not every film has to be for everyone. You know what I mean? Polygeek. Oh, Troop. Yes. Yes. If you like folk music, I do. There was a touring exhibit in Canada called Beyond the Beat, Music of Resistance and Change. You might enjoy the catalog. Yes. Would you link it in the Discord, Polygeek? Because you may or may not know this, but every summer for the last 4 years now, since the pandemic, it might be 5, I teach I teach a class in Canada. I'm there, I'm there remotely. But at the end of August, I zoom in to there's a summer camp called the Marigold Music Program. It's out of Toronto, and it serves underrepresented high school kids, and it's a music camp. And they've been doing this for a while, and they bring these kids in and they teach them music stuff. And I was like, how much you want to bet they have no music history? So I checked, they had no music history. And I said, look, I will volunteer to teach these kids some writing, rhetoric, music history. And they said, sure. So for the last 4 years, I have been teaching these kids in Canada. Like I usually do like a couple sessions with them, 2 sessions and like one-on-ones. And because these are Canadian kids, it is important to me to make sure that the thing I lecture on for that year is a Canadian topic or has to do with Canada in some way, because Canada is super interesting, and because it's right next door to the United States, which has a massive entertainment economy, sometimes Canadian music history topics are not as well known, right? And Canadian music history sometimes gets a little buried. So I always make sure to do a Canadian topic. My first topic was the music of Africville. The second year I did Canada and language politics. So we looked at different music in Canada, like a controversy when the Canadian national anthem was not sung in French and English, and like there was a time in one of the Olympics when somebody sang it in Micmac, I think it was, but like different things about like language. We looked at like Tanya Tigak, who does Inuit throat singing. So just like a lot of different sort of questions about language and Canadian identity. We did that for like year 2. Year 3 was CanCon, and year 4, which this year, I really think I'm missing one. We did music as process. And we talked about Walter Schaefer, some of these like Canadian process composers, and nature walks, and like nature walks through Canadian nature, and but then also writing as a process, and why maybe generative AI is maybe not the best way to either make your music or write your papers. It was about like, it's about process rather than end product. Like what happens when you like, you have all these like composers. I was looking at avant-garde composers from Canada who were making process music. And there's this woman who was a Canadian composer, and her name is German. Like, can't remember her name right now. I'm so sorry. But she did a lot with sound walks where you would like turn. It was like very, very cool. And one of the students actually did a sound walk for her final project, so I was really proud of them. But the sound walk is that you take a recording device and then you set a route and then you walk. And then you record what's happening where you're walking. And then when you're done with the walk, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you listen back to what you recorded. And she's been doing these sound walks since like the 70s. And so she has recorded, and for her, it's part of like activism, ecological activism. She records these places that actually don't exist so much anymore. Like there's a lot of green in this space, and now noise pollution has changed it, right? So walking around and becoming attentive to the natural sounds around you is part of what she's doing in that. And one of the students actually did a nature walk for her final project, and then talked about the process of the nature walk and what she learned about her environment that she had not been paying attention to. It's very, very good. And so that was really fun. But I always try to do something that is Canada specific every summer. So that thing that you are sharing with me, Polygeek, I think would be really good for me to have under my fingers for next summer when I teach the students. So thank you. If you would like link it, I would love that. House of Dreams says, I have no idea, but that first song is very good. In my humble opinion, they are tweaking the story a bit. Like Dave and the Vampires are a rock band. They're being played by actor musicians. Star is played by a black actress with a great voice. I'm also skeptical for much of the same reasons. I'm just choosing to be jazzed. Yeah, I'm going to just want to see reviews, right? When somebody who's like, oh, I saw it, it was great. I was like, cool. Then I'll go and do it. Max, like, I love Lost Boys. I did too. Wes Marches, thank you, Jer. It was a very good vampire movie. I like Cry Little Sister. I don't particularly care for the Lost Boys. I love Cry Little Sister. And I love Muscle Saxophone Guy very much. Very much. It's the 80s. It's the original box set Kickstarter just today. Oh, okay. Thank you. In which case, let me go look at it. Thank you. Thank you. Let's see. Now, I don't know much Canadian music history, but I also don't know much music history in general. I've never been much of a music person. That's fair. You can just up it. Jenai isn't the best. Thank you, Max. Hildegard Westerkamp. Yeah, Hildegard Westerkamp has done some amazing stuff, and she has like thousands and thousands and thousands of hours of environmental recordings of Canada and the world, actually. And so and then she will also take those soundscapes and then add electronics to them, right, to like sort of shape the composition more. But like, she's amazing stuff. House of Dreams says, there's a documentary out now called Building a Mystery. Oh, about how Canadian singer-songwriter Sarah McLachlan created Lilith Fair back in the early 90s. That might be something that could be cool to teach about for the kids. Yes, it would, actually. That would be very, very good. Hey, Prax, I was thinking about you. That would be a good one. I also think there'd be a really cool topic on Canadian country music. I think that would be a good topic, too. Also, Canadian hip-hop. I think there's just a lot of really cool stuff that you could do in Canada. Oh, speaking of the Lost Boys, I was listening to the release song for the new Lost Boys musical that's coming to Broadway in April. So was House of Dreams. Is it good, though? That's what I want to know. Because I want to know. Oh, House of Dreams really likes it. This is good to know. Oop. Not the way I'm going. I'm interested, right? Because again, I am not like what would you call it? I'm not I think new things can be good. I think that things can be different from the old thing and be really good. I think that things can be same as the old thing and not be very good, or can be very good. Like, I'm actually pretty open to revisiting things, but just generally speaking, I kind of feel like you have to do something. Like, if you're going to do a thing, then you have to do something. I always get frustrated when there's like a new performance of a Shakespeare play and they don't do anything. It's like the same thing I've seen 1,000 times before. There's like no idea behind it. Like, if you're not having an idea, why do it? Ooh, nice. Roomy at the back. Old car. Hey, everybody, do you notice there clearly were skyscrapers and large things here before the asteroid hit? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Huh. That's, interesting. I'm gonna check my, what do you call it? That. I think we have to do that. Um, I looked her up from what you said. Quick find. I wish I could get a job fact checking in real time. That would actually, that's cool. Um, yeah. Let's see. A single song that was released sounds, the single song that was released sounds good. And what I've seen of the cast and creatives are interesting. My major concern is about the aerial that they have planned. Oh, Prax, are we talking like a Spider-Man Rage Against the Machine, Spider-Man Dark of Night, Spider-Man Dark Night, Night of the Turn Off the Dark? Was that it? Spider-Man Turn Off the Dark? Because they did not have safe aerials. Yeah. Yeah. I've never been able to get quite that close to the deer around here, but pretty close. Yeah. They have an aerial plant. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Take out the dark. Take out the dark. Uh, take out the dark. Turn off the dark. There was that Spider-Man musical that never got off the ground because people kept getting injured and having back problems, like badly, badly injured because their stunt coordinator was not doing it right. I hope they have somebody who's doing it well. Yeah. Turn off the dark. Turn off the dark. Turn off the dark. Turn off. Mm, uh, yeah. Yeah. Jump in the tree. Um, what was the name of it? Somebody wants to know. Let's see. Uh, Grandpa seems better. Maybe I'm making a difference. Glad I haven't seen Creepy Birdman again. Wow. Thanks for the foreshadowing, Wednesday. Dropping it on Yoke. Yoke is the only person who can pull off the word beguiling in everyday conversation. Actually, I think Jaja Gabor could probably also pull off beguiling in everyday conversation. Uh, mm-hmm. uh, Turn off the dark, according to Google. Turn off the dark. Okay. Hey, look at this. Jackpot. Looks like a hidden path to a secret swim spot. Oh, hey, we found it, but I don't want to go there yet. There's the bus stop. I just want to see what else is here before we go. Also, I think we're getting a lot of new plants, which makes me think we're going to get a new garden, right? This is my sense. Also, those plants keep hiding. And that's interesting. Snake plant seed. Look, see, just you got to do a 360. And then you're fine. And then we'll go. Look at that little plant. It's kind of adorable. I wonder if people died. Oh, hey, there's Mew. Uh, I think you'd pull off Trooper. Mm, I could. I mean, the thing is, I think it's for me. If it's part of your vocabulary, then you just use it, right? Right? How dare, says House of Dreams. I can also pull off beguiling everyday conversation. Comes from my decades of bidding it in social traits, in social challenges, and Wolf LARPs. Absolutely. You just have to, like, if it's part of your vocabulary, I think it comes off more natural. It's one of the reasons why I don't curse, because it always feels a little artificial when I do it. So I don't think it comes off particularly well. Um, at least in English. I don't think cursing in English for me tends to read particularly. Oh, hey, I've collected half the seeds that exist in this game, and I feel good about that. I just feel like it comes off a little awkward, and that's just so that's one of the reasons why I don't do it. Also, it doesn't do anything for me. Like I don't get it doesn't do anything for me. Like it doesn't make me feel. They've done studies that say that when people get injured, if they curse, it hurts. They perceive it as hurting less. But I think that's because they have an association with cursing wherein it is a release, but it just kind of feels awkward for me. I'm not offended by cursing at all. I just don't think it does much for me. You know what I mean? So I just don't think I don't think it reads well when I do it. I could do it if I were playing in character, but I'd have to really like be in character. You know what I mean? It would be a lot of work. Mhm. Let's see. Prax says any word that you use with confidence that you know the definition of can be used in casual conversation. Yes. Artie says my curse words tend to come from different sources like books. So for a long time, I would use a light from Wheel of Time. Oh, also like the one in Battlestar, um, Frack, right? Praxis. It's any form of virulent expletive. I curse all the time. I can't stop. It might be a problem. Frack. That was it. Feldergarb, right? There was another one. I think there was another one. Yeah, it's just I think it might be. Yeah, I drop f bombs like I've got all the leftovers from PG-13 movies, and the things my parents cursed. My family curses, so I'm not um, what's the word? I'm not fragile about it. Like it really does not offend me or bother me in any way. It's fine. I don't care. Um, and if I'm quoting a song lyric that has a curse word in it in class, I'm going to quote the song lyric because that's the song lyric. I just don't tend to. It just doesn't roll off the tongue naturally for me, so I just don't tend to very much. Um, yeah, but I mean, I don't. I'm not bothered. Often, a lot of swearing feels lazy or Frel from Farscape. Praxis, like my dad's classmates in the academy used Fenster and got more out of that than just calling someone an expletive. The army had some very creative curse words because when I was in basic training, the drill sergeants were not allowed to curse at you or use curse words at you. So they just said other words that were very creative and wild. Dusty, that was one of them. Just I find it amusing. Hawkeye says, I don't cuss because one, faith based reasons, obviously. And two, if you look at what people are actually saying, it's rather foolish and lazy language. I imagine there's some people for whom it's part of their creativity or it's important or it's part of their expression. And, that's fine. It just doesn't do it for me. You know what I mean? But I do have that said. Also, West Marches. Um, House of Dreams said, I had to shortcut to cutting out swearing from gaming at a house where the parents didn't want swearing around their children, 10 and 4 at the time. We asked for a swear jar once, and the parents were like, no, we'd rather there be an occasional slip up than a swear jar. I don't want someone coming over and dropping a $20 bill in the swear jar and then swearing like a sailor aggressively all game night long. Oh, Artie says, I think the good place was rather clever with shirt and fork. Yeah, actually, I also like how it happened because they were trying to curse and they couldn't. I thought that was good. Hawkeye says, I even worked on a stand-up routine all about the words people cuss with actually mean. Uh, I think it's interesting how different languages have different curse words. Like different things are curses in different languages. Like Italian has a lot of blasphemy-based curses. A lot of things that are related to religion in Italian. Like my dad would say, well, no, okay. At least I don't know about all the rest of Italian. I mean, old Sicilian. I cannot speak to modern or northern Italian, but old school Sicilian. My dad would say like, Madonna della carne. And I was like, that's Madonna of the meat. He's like, yep. I was like, oh, that's a. We don't have that curse in English, but that's interesting that that's like the curse that you would have. Or just like different, like, are your curse words about blasphemy and religion? Are they about bodily functions? Are they about, like, what are your curse words about? And how different cultures have different things for cursing, right? I just think that's interesting to see like a culture for whom their curses are different. You know? That's I think that's like I was like, "Oh, huh. It wouldn't occur to me to use that as a curse word in English, but that culture there does use that as a curse word because like for us it just wouldn't be a curse word at all. But whereas we would say this one thing and we would think that would be terrible and they would just not care. Like I think that's fascinating. I think that's fascinating. You know, uh, they have also done multiple linguistic studies that show that those who curse have an expansive vocabulary. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the fact that it was in world works so well. I thought so too, already. Dusty could be an insulting term for a Martian or an Earther. Yep. Or people who have to do a lot of push ups in the dust. Like, for example, Irish Gaelic has no four-letter curse words. Oh, that's interesting. Spanish also has some intense swear words. Yes, sounds, says Max Ryder. And then also how curse words change over time. Like some things would have been really insulting, but then they no longer are, and vice versa. Or when people try to reclaim curse words to make them not curse words, insults. Um, Expedition 33 has French swear words, putain and merde. Putain, isn't that like food? Like it's like the French fries with garlic. It's probably spelled differently. To be fair, most Sicilian curses are actual curses in entire lineages. Well, that's okay. Well, now that's different. Yes, the evil eye, right? There's a my dad. Prax. You just reminded me of a curse word that my dad would use that I haven't thought about in a really long time. And it was I you're right. I am thinking of poutine. Sorry. Poutine is you're right. Sorry. I was thinking about poutine. It was the I don't think I've got it right. I just want to say madrugada, but that's not it. It was he'd say he would do the hand gesture and he would say, "Oh, basically it was about calling forth like a dark spirit, like your like a like a doppelganger, like a shade. What was it called? Uh he, he yeah, yeah. But it was but madrugada is Spanish. It was like that, but it was you know what I'm talking about, right, Prax? It's the one that you would say when you're making the gesture, and it's the one to curse you, right? To bring forth. Oh man, I used to say it. Oh, oh, it's the horns. Yeah, yeah, it's the horns. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh, yes, it's exactly the one it's the one that you to give the evil eye, and it's oh man, I can't remember. This is what I get. But it's that one, and I remember him saying it. Um, but I cannot remember the word right now to slip my mind. I'm getting other words that sound like it in my head, but I don't have it. But I remember it. But that's very different from like some of the other sort of like insults or curse words or curses. And I just think that sort of thing is really fascinating how culture will do that. No, no. He gave me a translation once, but I'm just trying to remember the actual word itself. Yeah. But also the way to block it, there's like a way to block it as well, which he also talked to me about. Um, yeah, but about like, and he talked about the shade, it's not really a doppelganger. It's like the, it's a figure, right? It's like it's would make a great monster for a Call of Cthulhu game. Bad juju though. Bad juju. Um, yeah. So I think it's interesting, right? I just think, like for example, in Bavaria, which is very close to Austria, right? So there is like these curses that some of the farmers would do. that are compound curses and clearly about religion. But one of them was like Himmel, Aschen, Wolkenbruch, Kreuz, Kruzifix, or Himmel, Aschen, Wolkenbruch, Kreuz, Kruzitürken. And I was like, okay, what is this very long phrase? And so like Himmel is heaven, uh, Arsch is ass. The Germans really like ass as part of their curses. Wolkenbruch is like a massive thunderstorm, like a big like this. Just the sky opens up and all this thunderstorm. Himmel, Arsch, Wolkenbruch, Kreuz, cross, Kruzifix, crucifix, uh, or Kruzitürken, or which is basically the Ottoman that curse was from when the Ottomans moved, like were invading. So like it's just like oh, that's like a curse from a couple of centuries ago. Interesting. Okay, so it's like about when the Ottoman armies were coming in through this area. Interesting. Okay, right. And it's just like it's fascinating to me. What what? There's a lot of ass in German, less ass in English. One of my favorite though is ass violin or ass fiddle. That's a German Arschgeige. I don't know about Northern Germans, but Southern Germans would call something like an Arschgeige to Arschgeige, an ass fiddle, which I really have no idea what that means. I have no idea what that means at all. I mean, in terms of, I know what the words mean, ass fiddle, but I don't know what it mean. I don't know where that came from and why you would call someone an ass fiddle. That's weird. Yeah, ass fiddle. I do not know why. But the other one, which I think is really, yeah, I don't know why you'd call somebody an ass fiddle. I do not know, but that was one, and you would call someone an ass fiddle. Why? I don't know. I don't know. But there was one I thought was really interesting, and it was du Nixige, which is you nothing, like a person who is nothing, like nichts, right? Um, Nixige. So like a that would like making a noun out of it, like you can turn um so you can turn something into like a noun for a person, like Geige is like a fiddler, right? Or and so you are a nothing person like that. And I was like, ooh, ouch, right? Like that's like you were a person who was nothing. Maybe you're, maybe, or maybe you play your ass as an instrument. Maybe you fiddle. I don't know, but it's amusing to me. Hey, you made it. Uh, I will be serious. It's really well hidden, but this huge white deer thing was standing right by the entrance, so I saw it. A white deer? It was it's kind of incredible to be honest. It was just standing there, huge, but it felt really safe. Weird. I thought I knew all the game around here. Never seen a white one. Pointed you in the right direction, though. Hop in. The water's great. The water's great. Uh, is it cold? I'm too used to pool swimming. As soon as you move around a bit, it's perfect. Okay, here I come. Yay! Swimming with friends. Oh, see? Uh, do you think it's acidine? Maybe they fart a lot? Your own ass on a part? It's like your own ass, too. With that voice, I want to ask if they have any wares. Oh, Artie Snacks. Kajit. Kajit wants to know if you have any wares. You are correct, Artie. You know, I'm thinking Kajit. Yeah, and I know French has different sorts of curse words, and I guess in English, a lot of our curse words are around sex, but like I don't think we have as many religious-based curse words in English. I mean, I suppose we have some, but a lot of the things that I remember, like that I recall, it's a bit more about like sex than it is about religion. Though my dad's Sicilian was very much about religion. Thank you, Ten. See? So perfect. I love it here. In the use, it's all sex and sending things to hell. Yeah, 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 yeah. Mew sounds like the cats from Lady and the Tramp. Yeah. According to our French, putain is more flexible versatile swear, like the F word, or salope, is more gendered and insulting. Oh, interesting. Most of the religious curse words have gone out of favor after the Reformation, particularly after the Tudors. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. That makes sense. Oh, there was something about this. What was it? It was... curse words, religion, sex. Oh, I remember. Thank you. Hawkeye. My dad would, one of the curses my dad would say is "Afanable," and I was like, "What is Dad? What does that mean?" He's like, "It means go to hell." And it's like, "But fanable, nable." It's like, it means go to Naples. That's, as a Sicilian, a person of Sicilian descent, his version of go to hell was go to Naples, which I thought was amusing. West Marches, thank you. Having watched now 2 episodes of the new Critical Role, it is not a West Marches game. I wish people keep calling it that, but it is not a West Marches game. That is not what Ben Robbins did when he, in his campaign called the West Marches campaign, and the blog post he wrote about describing how to run a West Marches campaign. It's just not a, it's just not a West Marches campaign. And, that's all. Yeah. Naples, how scandalous. I imagine if I were from Naples, I'd be irritated by that, right? Yeah. I feel like Trooper feels about West March is what I feel about roguelike. I think one of the frustrating things is that blog post is just not that old. Do you know what I mean? Like, you could just read it. You could just read the definition right there. If you know Sicilian history, it makes so much sense to say Napoli is hell. Yeah. Bless their heart, because the rest of them are good. That's a good one too, right? Oh, that's really good, Hawkeye. So I haven't ever taken anyone here, Oh. How come? Yeah, so Krellin, when Ben Robbins decided to create the West Marches campaign, he had a bunch of players, and he was like, you know what? All of the scheduling is going to be in charge of the players. So basically, they're like 14 players, and the players decide who they want to play with and when they want to play. So like, I might be like, hey, Krellin, I really want to play tomorrow. And Krellin's, we're all players. Krellin, I want to play tomorrow and like go to that like one spooky cave. Does anybody else want to go to the spooky cave? And so like maybe 3 other people join in, and so we're like, hey, House of Dreams, we 5 want to play tomorrow, and we want to go to the spooky cavern. And so then tomorrow we all play and we go to the spooky cavern, and then some other people are like, then Krellin, who's going to go to the spooky cavern with us all, with that one group on Friday, is like, oh, I also want to play Saturday. Anyone want to play Saturday at 2? I also want to go to the castle. And so basically the players just decide when they want to play, how often they want to play, and who they want to play with. And so you're going to have games happening at any given time, with the players who are in each group are going to be whoever decides to show up that day. And you might be playing every day of the week, or once a week, or twice one week, 5 times the next week, 3 times the next week. It'll just be with whoever wants to be there that day, at any given time. So, and it was meant for him to put all of the scheduling on the players. Like, if you want to play, you got to organize it yourself, and for him not to do prep, because he, as a GM, would over prep. And he was like, I just don't start things until it's all completely prepped. So I'm just not going to do that either. It's going to be up to the players, what they want to do, where they want to go, and how to, and to schedule it. And so the West Marches will not have a consistent party or consistent playtime or play date. And it'll be players who are like, I just want to, let's play tomorrow, and let's play here. Right. So it's kind of a sandbox, but it's not. Now people are using it to mean a sandboxing with a lot of players, but that's actually not, that meets every Friday. And that's actually not what West Marches is. West Marches is players do all the scheduling, and you have a flexible day, time, and party makeup. Thank you, 5. Thank you, 5. Yeah, it is a sandbox, but it's not... yeah, the current CR game is really just 3 different concurrent games. Yes, where everybody's there at the same time. It's not... does the same GM run every week? Usually, in your classic sandbox, it was him. And he would just... It was basically the GM is on call, right? So you've got an on-call GM who shows up whenever the players say they want to play. And you might have 2 players one time, 6 players the next time, 3 players the next time. You might have one player's the same because they like to play every single day. Some you only get like once a month. It's a very sort of like whenever people can just make it, they'll make it. When they can't, they can't. They just say, GM, we want to play. And the GM says, okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's sort of like a sandbox hex crawl thing. Yeah. Sounds like making groups for running dungeons, raids, and MMOs. Yeah, where the GM through the hex. Yeah, right. So there's like it's like you just call up the GM like, we're gonna play, you know. Max says, well, from what I read, D&D was originally meant to be in real time. If you played once a week went by between sessions and game. If you stopped in a dungeon, you'd probably be dead, so you had to get to safety between sessions or else. And House of Dreams has just linked the original post that describes the West Marches game. Thank you, House of Dreams. Thank you, Okami. Doesn't sound like something that would work for a stream game, which is why this is not a West Marches game, by the way. I mean, I think you could do it if you... let me put it this way. There are things that I think are streamed West Marches games, but they are those, the video games that PB plays. Although that's a little bit, that often doesn't have a GM, so that's a little bit different. But you know, when they're like, we're all playing Red Dead Redemption and we're just going to kind of show up, and it's sort of like a bit more like a mush. A bit more like a mush, I think. Except that this has a GM. Trooper says, the first few sessions are not supposed to be reflective of the rest of the campaign. Well, I will say, Jer, it can't be a West Marches because they have a regular date. Like it is a once a week campaign, right? As opposed to maybe this week it's 5 sessions, maybe that week it's 2, right? Like the classic West March, players decide the scheduling. And for a streamed game like that, that is not going to work. So it feels like it's more of a... It feels like it's a multi-table, a multi-group campaign, a shared campaign with multiple groups that may switch between groups. But that's not the same thing as a West Marches game. I'm just saying that they're confusing concepts. You could do it on stream if you had time to stream every night. Sure, but also it might not be every night. You might not stream for 2 weeks if nobody's up for it, right? So you'd have to, like, you could do it, but I think the deal would be you'd have to have viewers who are okay with there being no games for 2 months, and then like 5 games in a row, and then like a really sort of like inconsistent schedule. Those kind of role-playing feels not pointless, but never had any direction. Well, the direction's controlled by the players. It's what the players want to do. I was thinking just based on the fact that the stream games are a constant date and time. Yeah, that makes it not West March. Yeah, but they're still going to break into 3 preset groups that might cross over but are planned to be separate. Oh, are they going to be separate? Oh. Is it once a week, Trooper? They air it once a week, but they're all pre-recorded. Yeah. I like the idea of it. I hate the idea of running it. Sounds like a massive amount of work. I think it's meant to be a massive amount of time, but not a massive amount of work. And I think for Ben Robbins, he's like, I just don't want to schedule players anymore. I don't want to be in charge of scheduling them, so they schedule themselves. And if they do it, and they say what they're going to do, I don't do prep, right? Like, so basically he can't over prep, because his problem was he would over prep. So it was a way for him to cut down on work, rather than give him more work. This is what I would sort of say about that one. I guess it would have been weird to bring tongue. And like Claire and Aelin, they're nice, but they've got so much to do all the time. I like being here alone, too. I like the feeling of the water, like vanishing me. I'll talk about feeling at home. I always feel more at home in the water. More like me. For sure. Do you like your body? A bit tall. Good for swimming, though. Good reach. She's sort of athletic. I like that I'm strong. And I can balance well. But I don't know how I'm supposed to look, to be honest. I don't remember what my parents look like. Like, I guess I know objectively I'm freaky. But whatever, the water doesn't care. Oh, I don't think you're freaky at all. Nono's garden looks nice, by the way. Oh, yeah, it's right outside your house. It's not annoying, is it? I just had a thought, by the way, about the game. I'm into it. Nono used to look after gardens all over the place. He helped me look after mine. There are a lot of places there used to be gardens. What did you grow? Like herbs for marinating meat and stuff? It was a house garden. I grew stuff to eat. You know the archive? Just in front of there. You had a house there? I'm going to read you in chat, by the way. I just want to finish this conversation. Sorry. It's a weird day to talk about this. Let's just float for a bit. So, want to know about all of these old buildings? Now I'm going to catch up on checks with a scene change. Cast members have apparently hopped into the chat along on the Beacon Discord. Oh, that's cool. In Indie Spaces, folks call it an open table campaign, rotating casts, set days. Yeah, because True West March is no set days, just whenever players want to. And that their favorite player character might not be there constantly. Yep. Prax says, I will say that the modded form of the West Marches for stream has become the GM has a set game day and any players who show up play that day. You forget how over-prepping I am. I always over-prep. Always. It's a problem. I have so many problems. So maybe, Max, maybe a West Marches style would be good for you. Right? Because the whole point of the West March is that you can't over-prep. Because you never know what they're going to do until... Like, I think you have to give them a day, the GM a day in advance, but basically it's a way to stop the GM from over-prepping. And so the GM doesn't have to deal with scheduling either. And wrangling players. Like, you don't have to wrangle players, so if the players want to come, they come. If they don't, they don't. So maybe it would be good for you. Maybe. Maybe. Thank you, T0. I tend to get anxious about running sessions so often I can put it off to the last minute, then scramble. I have a broad overview, but not specifics. Did they grow in moon sugar? Oh. So, like, I mean, again, like, if over-prepping is a problem, then maybe West Marches might be useful. Okay, the sandbox part of West Marches sounds remarkably like Red Markets, actually. I never know what they're going to do now in my game. They almost turned around and headed back instead of taking the train south so they could slot. And that's the slot they always play in, right? So, yeah, that's the thing, right? That you never... And I think that, like, me personally... I don't think West Marches fits for the kind of games that I like to run. The dynamic I like to have and the games I like to run, a West Marches game or an open table or like the kind of style that you would have if you're playing the Pathfinder Society in your game shop. Not for the style of games I like to run. I mean, I'll do anything for a 2-shot. But if I'm going to do a long campaign, it's not to my particular taste as a GM. But Ben Robbins was like, I need to do this, and he really enjoyed it. He thought it was really good. I'm more of an East Marches kind of a guy, says Jer. So does it become not West Marches if the players only have one slot per week open, and that's the slot they always play? Yes, Carl. If there's one slot, then it's not a West Marches game, because the whole point of a West Marches game is that the players choose when they want to play, and that the scheduling is on Like that's like one of the core moments of that West March is that the players are responsible for scheduling, and it can be any day, any time, as long as the gym is available, they can do it whenever. So like, it's meant to sort of deal with the problem of adults having scheduling issues and feeling like they need to like have a kind of a consistency. So I would say if it has a set slot, then it's not West Marches. I sat there grinding my teeth, but kept my mouth shut. If that's what they wanted to do, that's where the game was going to go, despite my 2 weeks of intense game prep. See, in a West Marches, you couldn't do 2 weeks of intense game prep because that's not how West Marches work. Will I do anything for Claudia Bark? Yes. Right. But I'm saying the players have only that one slot, not the DM. Well, the thing is, Krellin, that in a West Marches game, you probably have like 14, 15, 16 players. And most likely the players will have, you know, at any moment you're like, oh man, I've got a day off. I've got a day off Sunday. And I want to play. Krellin, do you have Sunday? Like, I know that like everybody tends to have Thursday, but since you never have to the same group ever, right? You could be like, yeah, Krellin and I want to go and play on Sunday. Okami, are you free to jam us? Right. So the fact that you never have to have a set group, you never have to have a set time, and there never has to be any consistency between the groups. So if the bulk of the players are always free on Thursday, but like you and I just want to go and do like just you and I do a game on Monday night, and we're like, Okami, we want to play Monday night. We want to do a thing, right? That would be like, that's part of the sort of the flexibility of it, right? There's a sign that says Novatech. What's Novatech? It's written on a bunch of signs. They're ancient buildings from before Moon Dragon. We use them for materials and stuff, but some of them, they're so big, I can't imagine there ever being that many people. Enwa, you should for sure explore at some point. We're going to go as soon as this conversation's done, by the way. Did the meteor really kill everyone? Everyone? Mostly everyone. A few people didn't die. Mani was one of them, apparently. It was her who put everyone back together. Nonno and people think she was all magical or something. I think she was just really good at surviving. Mani taught Nonno what he knows, apparently. Depends on how you look at it. Either she taught him, or she died and he took over. Melancholy Melody has a hexagon. Note that. Whoa. Oh, it's just, I don't know, like a really old song. I keep on meaning to think of some lyrics for it, but nothing works. It seems better raw. Thanks for coming out here to be with me. Thanks for inviting me. I'm going to go dry out in the sun. This, by the way, is our stopping point. Right here. Right now. This is our moment. Right? This is our moment. I wonder if Grandpa's up. Hints. And then it says, okay, I was skeptical about the whole Dawn thing, but this was the most chill time I've had in ages. He was really cool. I like her. So that's where we're at, and let's, main menu. So, that was amazing. I'm going to catch up, see what you got to say. House of Dreams says, I did that, Politics City Ventures. I did that with one of my West Marches games. It was an inversion. The city was the exciting place where all the plot is, and outside the site is calm, idyllic countryside and pastoral market towns. While there are ancient forests filled with old elvish ruins, but you have to deal with the city's big political movers and shakers to ever get to those places. Artie says, that seems rough on the GM being on call pretty much all the time. House of Dreams says, it is. I imagine Artie or Ben Robbins, it was rougher trying to wrangle players than it was to just leave it on them. It seemed like he preferred to be on call and have them say, we four people want to play, than having him trying to get a consistent group together at a consistent time. So I guess for him it was less rough than the other way around. Moon Dragon, Moon Sugar. Also, one of the things I ran into while running West Marches games is running into what I call LARP problems. Giving some nice Mres vibes from animated Star Trek. Yes. Melancholy Melody has a hexagon. We're going to remember that. Nichelle Nichols. Majel Barrett. Most of the non-main cast voices on the original series were Nichelle and James Doohan. Oh, that's so interesting. Also, to quote the blog post, West Marches is a swirling vortex of ambition and insecurity. Yeah, so everybody, I just think that people who have not read that blog post about West Marches are just using it to mean sandbox and with multiple groups. And that's not what a West Marches game is. And right, that West Marches is had a whole purpose to it, which was about making players responsible for scheduling and a kind of a flexibility in a certain kind of a way that, like, let me put it this way. Living Greyhawk and the Pathfinder Adventures Society has had long-running campaigns in game stores for a long, long time, and nobody called them West Marches games because they weren't, right? Like, they were different. I mean, they were like, we're running through the, what do you call it? The Rise of the Rune Lords, and you can just show up at the store or not show up, but we're just going to, stop in or not stop in, and we're just going to go. That's like a very different, and sure, like, it's just a different thing. And I think that, I just don't think it's accurate. And I'm being a Krellin right here about roguelikes is what I'm doing, or roguelites. The difference between a roguelite and a roguelike at the moment. And I think the thing that's frustrating about it is that, like, you can just read what the definition is, and it's not that old. You know what I mean? Like, that's old. Like, it's just like right there. That's all. Nope. Trooper TAS is the animated series. Oh, yes, thank you. With from the art style looks like it's from the 60s, but I feel like it was from the 70s, right? Or did it actually come out in the 60s? It must have been the 70s. It was the 70s, right? The animated series? Right? Living Greyhawk. I don't know if Living Greyhawk is still around. 70s. It was the 70s, right? Yeah. I mean, it kind of looked like Johnny Quest, but that's a 70s cartoon. I remember watching it. I remember it wasn't on a lot, but I didn't get to see it all the time. I wanted to watch it more. I really liked the art style, actually. 73 to 74. NBC figured out what a mistake they made canceling TOS, but they'd already sold all the sets. Yeah, well. So, I guess, anyway, this new campaign, which looks very cool, I'm not mad about it. It looks pretty neat. Again, does not seem like it's a West Marches campaign. That's all. It just seems like it is a multi-party campaign set in a shared space where the actions of one group will impact the actions of another group. And people have been doing that for a really long time. Like, I was in a group that did that in the 80s, you know what I mean? In Call of Cthulhu. So I'm just like, we've been doing that. That is not like West Marches is a new thing. Like, West Marches is a new concept made by Ben Robbins, and what we're seeing is not a new concept. It's been going on forever. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all. That's it. That's it. I watched it when it first came out, loved it. Same art style as Tarzan and Batman. Yes, it had that same style as those. about the same time. Yep. Oh man, Spider-Man, I gotta go. It's time. Everybody, I would raid into Okami, but I can't, House of Dreams, because he's not on the thing. But when he does the thing, we will raid into him if we're running. I want to say thank you for being here, and thank you for listening to my discussion about how the thing they're doing predates West Marches. West Marches is a new thing, and it's also cool, but they're different things. That's all. Uh, that's it. And thank you for like all the chats about all the stuff, including language. And oh, I'm gonna get the word that my dad would say. And here's what's what. Today is Thursday. Tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern will be episode 3 of season 7 of The Gamblers. They have got an Imperial yacht that needs help and is sending off a distress signal, and they are very injured, and we will see what happens with that. They will either ignore him or they will not ignore them. I don't know what they'll do, but they do need to go by that area unless they want to go way around if they want to get to where they're going. We will see. And then we'll have Saturday, where I'll be playing Heaven's Vault at 1 p.m. Eastern. Then on Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern on my channel, Laugh Love Lindy's channel, Wandering DM's channel, and also High Shelf Collective will be the second play session for The Expanse, where we finish up our basically 2-shot, but we'll have one more week where we talk about it. And that is going to be, we're going to be getting some space combat, I think, and find out what happens. It's a great group of players. I really enjoy the characters. I'm really excited for that. And that'll be then. And then the next Sunday we'll wrap up that cycle. And then let's see, Tuesday next week, I believe at 8 p.m. over at PB Plays Inside, we'll be playing a 2-shot, myself and PB Plays Inside and other doc, of Asher's Ridge, which is a game that I don't know if it's still in Kickstarter, but it was recently in Kickstarter, which is a very kind of a Twin Peaksy sort of a game. Very excited about that. So that'll be Tuesday. And then back around here on Thursday for Mutazione. So that's where you can find me. And we're going to go. Everybody, that's it. I'm leaving. I'm going. I want to say thank you so much. I'm not going to raid because, I'm going to go and make garlic, honey, chicken, and some fettuccine Alfredo. And I will watch you all. I'll be in the Discord chat for the most recent episode, the newest episode of Critical Role. If you want to hang out and chat with us, I'll be in there. And we'll be chatting, and it'll be lovely. And it's been very nice. You can catch me here at Trooper SJP on Twitch and also YouTube, and Academic Foxhole for the merch store, and also our Patreon. And go see the new Patreon post if you want. It's open for everybody. And of the State of the Foxhole. And I think that's it for me. Thank you. You guys are awesome. And I'm gonna think about this Mutazione. It's very cozy. But there's a kind of like there's something melancholy about it so far, but also a coziness. There seems to be like, how do people, one thing I want to say, when Mew was said that she knew that she looked freaky, I forgot that nobody in this world looks like a cat. This is not a universe where there are people who look like cats or like big green things. Only this one island. The entire rest of the world looks just like we do here and now. And it is only this one island where somebody might look like a cat. And so she feels self-conscious because it isn't actually normal to look like a cat in the universe. And I hadn't thought about that because I just sort of accepted everybody looking like they look in the game. And so I think it was good to be reminded that nobody off the island does look like that, and people might have feelings about that. I'm excited to see where this goes, actually. Yeah. So join us later, everybody. We'll catch you on the flip side. No raid, but I'll see you in about like a half hour for Critical Role. And until then, everybody, I will catch you on the flip side. Bye, everybody.